Flex Water Park and Rides from the KETV Newswatch 7 Weather Center on 1620 The Zone.
Beautiful weather to kick off the work week with a high today in Omaha of 83 degrees, plenty of sunshine, light and variable winds, and low relative humidity. We'll see clouds increase a bit tonight, becoming partly cloudy, still mild with a low of 60. For your Tuesday, partly cloudy, a bit warmer with a high of 88, and a 20% chance of showers, especially to start the day. I'm meteorologist Caitlin Harvey with KETV Newswatch 7.
1620 The Zone. Traffic.
From the Pyramid Roofing Time Saving Traffic Center. Happy Monday. Hope you had a fantastic weekend. Not a lot of activity in the Omaha Metro with no accidents or delays to report. I got a couple things to keep in mind. Northbound 72nd between F and I-80 still closed due to bridge work. So if you want to take the interstate, you have to take the detours through either 84th or 60th. Also, Millard Ave is closed between 144th and U in both directions due to long-term road construction. This is going to take place from now till the end of August. Be sure to buckle up, drive safe out there. I'm Joey Colbert.
This time-saving traffic is brought to you by Saul's Jewelry and Loan.
We're excited to announce the grand opening of Saul's Jewelry and Loan's new downtown location. It's a Saul's shopping experience like you've never seen. Amazing jewelry finds at our famous best-in-town prices. Tools, bikes, guitars. 22nd and Hardy, downtown Omaha, Saul's Jewelry and Loan.
Post is roasting every morning.
Post Coffee Services is on a mission to invigorate every workplace with a blend of bold flavors and unforgettable service, creating moments with our coffee, water, and food services that spark joy, productivity, and connection. Call us today.
Proudly serving Nebraska since 1972. Post Coffee Services is always roasting something good for you.
I'm Brad Heller with NFL Network Now on the Westwood One Radio Network. Giants tight end Darren Waller has informed the team that he's retiring after 8 seasons, according to NFL Network insider Ian Rappaport. The team released a statement saying in part, quote, "We have great respect for Darren as a person and player. We wish him nothing but the best." The Pro Bowl tight end also played for the Ravens and Raiders. Houston quarterback C.J. Stroud is comparing receiver Nico Collins to a Texans legend. Quote, "He's like our age's Andre Johnson, in my opinion." Johnson, who's part of this year's Pro Football Hall of Fame class, is the franchise's all-time leader in receptions, receiving yards, and touchdowns. The Lions were informed by the NFL Players Association that they had to forfeit today's organized team activity workouts after recently violating player work rules regarding on-field physical contact pursuant to the collective bargaining agreement. This has been NFL Network Now on the Westwood One Radio Network.
1 in 4 Americans have a disability. I'm one of them. I'm also a working mom who cares deeply about making sure every child with a disability thrives by getting their access needs met. We've got a trusted ally by our side. Easter Seals provides children and families the foundation for lifelong success through early learning programs, skills training, and prep for college and career. That's my Easter Seals. Make it yours. Join us at easterseals.com.
Retired or retiring soon? How much money do you need to live comfortably? Retirement Planners of America is here for you. Would you like to have financial peace of mind? Here's how. Step 1. Find out the amount of money you'll need to retire. Step 2. Have a plan to get there. Step 3. Make sure that plan can take advantage of market gains but protect you from market losses. Discover how to do all 3 with a free consultation at 800-508-6108. That's 800-508-6108.
All investments involve risk, including losses. Past performance does not guarantee future results.
Hey, you hear that? That's the sound of loose change in your pocket reminding you to buy a 99-cent medium fountain drink from Casey's. So the next time you hear this, you already know where to go. 99-cent medium fountain drinks. It's not crazy. It's Casey's.
Join United Way of the Midlands as they thank our community for their amazing support with a party at the park. Saturday, June 29th from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. at Warner Park. With face painting and balloon animals, a photo booth, a community village, live music, a toothbrush drive, and more, there's something for everyone. Plus, the first 1,000 attendees get a free hot dog lunch. Special thanks to sponsors Election Systems and Software, NP Dodge, Shields, Warner, and Woodman Life. Get all the details at unitedwaymidlands.org.
This is the story of the one. As head of maintenance at a concert hall, he knows the show must always go on. That's why he works behind the scenes, ensuring every light is working, the HVAC is humming, and his facility shines. With Granger's supplies and solutions for every challenge he faces, plus 24/7 customer support, his venue never misses a beat. Call quickgranger.com or just stop by. Granger, for the ones who get it done.
We're the Goo Goo Dolls. We're fortunate that our daughters have what they need to grow and learn. But that isn't the case for nearly 13 million kids in the U.S. that struggle with hunger.
Childhood hunger is a heartbreaking reality that Feeding America is working to change. Each year, the Feeding America network of food banks rescues billions of pounds of good food that would have gone to waste and provides it to families and children in need.
You can help kids in need in your community by visiting feedingamerica.org.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
This is your captain. We are going to be experiencing some slight turbulence. Please fasten your... Oh, hold on. Just got a video of my cat.
Imagine the pilot of an airplane was as confident as you are texting and driving. Seems kind of crazy when you put it like that.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Iris Council Bluff presents Black Pumas Thursday, June 20th at Stir Cove. Get tickets and check out the full entertainment lineup at StirCove.com. Stir Cove is an all-ages venue.
1620 The Zone.
Brown works up high against Gafford. He's going to try to blow by him. Does. Now passes out to Horford. Quick pass, 2 extra passes. Tatum hits from the right wing. Holiday tapping it away from Washington to Luka. He saw the clock, fires it across and turns it over. Back to Holiday. Left angle 3 is good. A huge turnover by Dallas. And Drew Holiday makes them pay. Here's White all alone for 3. Down it goes. Holiday and White. Back-to-back threes. Boston takes a big lead up 103-89. Inbound to Doncic. There's the horn. And the Boston Celtics are halfway to their 18th championship. They hold serve at home, and they hold off the Dallas Mavericks in Game 2, 105-98.
I'm really tired of hearing about one guy or this guy or that guy and everybody trying to make it out to be anything other than Celtic basketball. And everybody that stepped on that court tonight made winning plays on both ends of the floor. That's the most important thing.
At the end of the day, we got to make some more shots. I think my turnovers and my missed free throws cost us a game. So I got to do way better in those two categories. But at the end of the day, we got to make shots to win the game.
Live from 50th and Capitol Avenue in the Big O. This is Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone, 1620thezone.com, and 1620 The Zone TV. Now here's Gary, Nick, and Jimmy.
I just got 3 things to say. God bless our troops. God bless America. And gentlemen, start your engine!
Good morning on a Monday. We are live. We are local. It is a whole new week of Mornings with Sharp and Handley. We have a little bit of a split show on this Monday. Jimmy and I are in studio. Nick, I'm noticing your setup. I know that you just went on a trip to Michigan. Where exactly are we?
Augusta?
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. Jimmy?
Oh, wait. This isn't like that time.
Okay.
Forgot. There you go.
Oh, you guys got me?
Hey!
All right. Oh, no.
Good
We don't want to start the week like that.
A better start than the umpires of the Clemson-Florida game yesterday.
I had you muted just so in case before the show, if anything happened, you
Okay, yeah.
wanted to get those last
when
second F-bombs in. And
I turned the camera on, I noticed this is my brother-in-law's, this is his workspace, and he's a very good golfer. He was a college golfer. He's got it set up to where it does look like I'm in essentially the clubhouse at either Augusta or even Pinehurst this week. But we got a lot of Masters flags. We got a USO, or we got a British Open flag right there too. So, yeah, this is it's aesthetically pleasing for sure. This is probably one of the better on-site locations. Off to my right, I'm looking out into the woods. We might get a doe coming up to the window to check out the show at some point. A deer.
it's stuck in my head now. Yeah.
All right. Look at that. So you married into some money. That's what we're going to learn today, that Nick married into cash in the Chicagoland area.
Married into the Scheffler family.
Hey, good on you. We all got to chase the bag.
Yeah. And hey, you know what? Grand Rapids, Michigan has been good to us this weekend too. So here we are, and then we get the 9.5 hour jaunt as soon as the show's over. We'll be back in the O and ready to get knee deep into College World Series.
Hold on, did you say back in the O?
Back in the O. It ain't the big O anymore. Come on.
I don't know. I don't know that I return to Epley. I go, oh my God, we're back in the O.
Back in the O.
Yeah.
Life's a little simpler.
People, because 7 of the 8 spots in the pearly gates of college baseball have been filled.
My Ducks apparently blew it. I was already planning for another game.
Blew it, Jimmy. That was a complete meltdown in the 7th inning last night in College Station. But 7 of the 8 spots are already locked up for the College World Series. It begins in this town, the mecca of college baseball, coming up on Friday. There is one more to go. It is a winner-take-all. It is in Athens today between your University of Georgia Bulldogs and the Wolfpack of North Carolina State, which Saturday, North Carolina State blew out Georgia. Yesterday, Georgia blew out North Carolina State. So good job capping what's going to happen today.
2-1.
But one thing, that's probably true. As long as no teams wear black. North Carolina State wore black on Saturday. You know, once you go black, you don't go back, especially when you're beating somebody down in baseball.
That's what I've heard.
So Georgia wore black yesterday. Also, I noticed a trend is that, and I think this is an okay trend, less undershirts, more open buttons, more chest hair is being shown in college baseball. I'm for it.
The Tom Selleck effect.
Yeah. No, not for it.
Not
for it.
I get
Such a sloppy look. Come on, Gary. You know, if you dress the part, you look good, you play good. It all, yeah. Between that and the hat, by the way, I thought you were some creepy fisherman that snuck into the studio.
The hat is glorious.
It is. Everybody loves it.
I can only see nose and teeth right there.
Yeah, the whole camera situation here a little messed up. But I will explain what I'm wearing here in a little bit.
To me, it says I missed out. I should have gone to a baseball game Saturday.
It is absolutely glorious. This is the way to start a beautiful weather day and the start of the College World Series week. But you don't like the new look where sluggers, and there are going to be some dong hitters that are coming to the Chuck this weekend. Guys that are flashing the carpet that's coming out of the chest. Because there's Georgia is a big fan, and I know it's hot. It is a fat man's weight loss paradise in Athens this time of the year. Okay, so wearing the undershirt, I mean, I get it. I'm an undershirt guy because I got to keep everything, you don't want, jingling and jangling and that. It's just not a good look. But you got more guys that are going with the open button look, and I'm here for it. Hey, I
would. David Wells inspired us.
I think the fashion look is in. I think college baseball is in. But you don't like it?
No, I don't like it. And I think it would be very uncomfortable. You got the sew-on letters across, even with the technology of uniforms these days. I would feel like that would do some nipple chafing. I don't know. I feel like there would be a lot of nipple chafing.
I'm going to have to wear my Astros jersey this week and test this theory.
I've never had my nipples chafed or milked.
Yeah.
Can especially when you're further?
Well, I've never had it happen, but I feel like with, how thick those letters are, even on the thinner jerseys.
I thought you were going somewhere else.
All right, let's do this.
But yeah, it looks sloppy, man. They're going head first. You got dirt all over the front of your jersey, and all of a sudden that other button starts sagging down. It's just I don't know. I'm not a big fan of it. It's not a classy look. Look classy, play classy. You be classy. Come on.
Man. All right, they're going to be a fun week. Go get them. Hey, baseball is fun. Baseball is only fun to 2 conferences. So today we have the SEC and the ACC. If North Carolina State wins, it's 4-4. If Georgia wins, it's 5 SEC teams here against 3 from the ACC. It is a select group. It is kind of where college baseball is going, but it's going to be rare that this College World Series will be represented by only 2 conferences. Saturday was a good day. Saturday was a good day for the ACC. Yesterday was a good day for the SEC. It's kind of where in a geographical sport where the sport is. I don't know if people will think it's a great thing when we finally get here on Friday, even though I think we had some banger of matchups.
Yeah, watch the baseball be really good, and people forget that. like, hey, it's actually fun.
Yeah, I think Evansville was the one team that people were hoping, if you wanted the story, the Omaha story that we all gravitate to, that was obviously the one we talked about that a lot last week, but that was no match. I mean, they got bludgeoned yesterday. That's the thing, Gary. If you like good baseball, and if you know when it comes to what the SEC does, what the ACC does, and even to an extent the Big 12, unfortunately not represented in this. If you like good baseball, just some big time matchups, this is what you're going to get. If you need that Cinderella story, well, unfortunately, it's not going to provide that. You're not going to get the team that everyone can say, oh, it came out of nowhere. We never saw this coming. I mean, Florida has a 3 seed, sure, but it's still Florida, man. It's still baseball.
So Florida makes it. So yesterday, we're going to talk about that crazy game that happened in Clemson, South Carolina. Because as we get to the biggest stage of college baseball every year, and I think it's great to be a college baseball fan right now. I think the type of athlete that's playing college baseball, the attention to college baseball has never been this great. I think the sport is in a great spot right now. But just kind of like women's basketball and the WNBA, when your sport is growing and all of a sudden you have this new attention, some things get exposed. And I don't know if college baseball is ready for the additional exposure to expose some of the umpiring, other things like that are going on in the game. But regardless, I think we're going to have some great matchups. I love what Friday and Saturday is. Now, one thing about Florida is we were in agreement. Florida at a 3 seed was seeded way too low. And I think there's a nugget out there. They are tied for the lowest win percentage ever to make the College World Series. And they have top 5 talent. They just they underachieved in the regular season. But I tip my cap and I say, wow, they won 4 straight games on the road over a number 2 seed and somehow, some way overcame yesterday. Because that was a debacle of a game that had the highs and the lows. It kind of had everything that's great about sports and college baseball right now. You're right. I don't know that Florida would be a Cinderella, maybe even a dark horse. Maybe it's just that time of the year. And I think that's kind of what it is for Florida right now. But what does it say about, for example, Nebraska? Well, it just says Nebraska faced a Florida team that probably shouldn't have been a 3 seed. They were a 3 seed because of the record, not because of their metrics.
Yeah, and that's why I think when if you're not a follower of college baseball, you're going to look at that 3 seed and you're going to say, oh, okay, Florida, now there's your story. But again, as we all know, especially all 3 of us, that's a baseball program that it goes beyond Jack Caglione too. I mean, they've got players they recruit. Kevin O'Sullivan's been doing this for years. So even though the record wasn't up to par, you knew the level that they were capable of playing, especially given the setting that they're in, where you're in more of a short tournament setting where you can really rely on guys. And remember, they relied on a lot of freshman arms this year that those guys are now starting to come they're starting to come to form right now too. So it's not just being able to outmatch teams yesterday withstanding, but they've got some arms, they got some quality guys. It's just not the same Florida team you saw a year ago, or the years when they had Coar and that pitching staff that was so good. But it's still a more than capable Florida team that it wouldn't shock me if they're having a longer stay in Omaha than even maybe some are predicting right now.
I agree. So 7 of the 8 are filled. It's the SEC ACC showdown at the Downtown Trader.
Presented by Belk.
Day Trader coming up on Friday and Saturday. It's also potential to have 7 first-round guys playing here, including the number 1 overall pick for the second straight year, Charlie Condon of North Carolina State, or Georgia, excuse me, if Georgia makes it. So the field is intriguing. There's some newbies. There's some familiar. There are some teams that are on heaters. There is some really, really good talent here. There will not be a team for the Pac-12. Last night, ironically, ended after dark. Oregon State, which...
Or Beavers.
Ooh. Well, the Beavers did not eat this weekend against that Kentucky pitching. They only got 3 hits in 18 innings. And Kentucky, which I think we have a Jello shot challenge number 1 seed that's coming here with Kentucky.
This is what I want to know.
They made a commitment to baseball, and they get here for the first time, and their pitching has been fantastic. They actually, in my book, might be a dark horse to win the national championship, even as a newbie, because they pitch it well, they run the bases well, and they play exceptional defense.
Yeah, that's it. And their appearance in Omaha is probably 6-7 years in the making, where you've seen this program as a perennial top 25 team. You've seen them in the NCAA tournament. You've seen them host regionals. You've seen them play in super regionals. They just haven't got over the hump. So what they do now at this level, I think, is going to be intriguing. I'm with you, though, in the way that they're built. They've got really good pitching. They can swing it just like any other SEC team as well. But the fact that that program has been building for this moment, if there's you're right about the external part, the fan base, and I think what they could potentially bring to Omaha. But as far as what this team,
they have to be the number one seed, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And the Rocco's,
World Series.
Jello
Okay,
Shot
Jello
Challenge?
Shot. Yeah.
Absolutely for the Jello Shot Challenge. Yeah,
Right.
because
They will seed. We'll seed.
They're caged animals right now. They're finally getting their opportunity to be in Omaha, so they're going to show out. I feel like if you challenge Kentucky, this is what happens. So yeah, I feel like that's got to be at least your pre-tournament favorite to take down the Jello Shot Challenge.
I mean, will they be mixing? Will Kevin down there be mixing in bourbon? Because that would be a draw.
They would like
throw a little dose of bourbon into the Jello Shot.
Good bourbon though.
I would say my top 3 seeds right now are Kentucky, Tennessee, and Florida State.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Florida State. We had this conversation last year.
No, because you got a lot of wine and cheese drinkers coming. You got Virginia, you got North Carolina. They're coming.
I wonder if that Florida guy who was going to start the fight when we did our thing last year on the air will be back.
Oh, I don't know. A friend of mine who I used to work with is a Florida grad, diehard Florida baseball fan. And him and his wife were here last year for 2 weeks. And when Nebraska and Florida matched up, we put a little bet on the line. I'm like, you know what? Let's do some stone crabs against some steak. Never did I think that he'd be coming up here to get it in person.
Hey, have a meal. There you go.
Yeah.
Excuse to go out and have a nice meal.
Do we throw the winner of today's game in that mix it all between Georgia and NC State? I have very little faith in NC State.
First time here for Georgia. Yeah. They might get after it a little bit.
Yeah, they could. I put more stock into them than NC State. NC State was here before their team got COVID out of the series. Remember, that was an NC State team that would have been playing most likely in the championship series.
Remember COVID.
Yes.
Yeah, that was an unfortunate.
They got popped.
Yeah, that was a really awkward time.
Mm-hmm.
2021 College World Series.
They were taking remember they won the Fayetteville Super Regional. They took that heater. They rode it all the way into a 2-0 start.
I really don't know what's going to happen today in that game. I mean, it's is it noon or 7? Because it's a standalone. Is it now at 7?
It should be. Let me check here.
Because whoever wins that game doesn't play until Saturday.
Right.
I mean,
then they probably do 7.
If it's noon or 7. But they had not given them a start time because you could have had a couple of winner-take-all games today.
I really thought we were going to have multiple of those, too.
6 o'clock is what I'm showing.
Okay, so 7 o'clock Athens time. All right, we got a lot to catch up on. Busy weekend of sports. There were times that probably if you were on social media, you were like, oh, my God, can football not get here soon enough? With the snub of Caitlin Clark.
82 days.
Oh, yes, it is 82 days until the start of the season. And one of these days, possibly the voice of the Huskers, Greg Sharp, will be saying, they're not booing, they're chanting Mooberry as Nebraska got their 10th commitment for the class of 2025. They did it local with Millard North. Full question, is Millard North back?
Started churning some guys out.
They're going to have at least 3 Division I Power 5 guys on their current roster. I mean, hell, they almost had a coup the last 2 years to get Fred out of there. They got a brand new coach with an abundance of talent. Now they have 2 that are headed to Lincoln. So we will discuss that pickup. Also, the No Aura NBA Finals are now on to game number 3. Boston won last night. No Aura.
Rough watch.
Yeah, it's just
mute.
ESPN and the ABC's coverage has just been brutal. It has been lackluster. Just the product on air and really the product on the floor, unless your name is Holiday, has been really, really like meh. Just meh for 2 games. Yeah. And now the Celtics are up 2-0 going on the road Wednesday night's game 3.
It's nothing like the NBA Finals games, and I've been to many that I've been to, and it's just misses a lot of that big feel that.
Well, I think that this is an ESPN thing.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
It used to be a big deal. Like ESPN, the finals, it should be a big deal.
Yeah.
But there is no aura from the ABC presentation. And that, unfortunately,
even they used to be better.
Well, unfortunately, it includes Mike Breen.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Mike Breen is struggling with his 2 cohorts there at courtside. I don't think Doris Burke and JJ Redick are helping Mike Breen. And so it is bringing down one of the best play-by-play guys we have, in my opinion. But it's just there's just nothing there. Nothing there. ABC has not made this feel like it's a big deal like they have the ability to do. Hell, slip in a monologue.
Look what they did for hockey Saturday night. They actually got me ready for a game.
Yeah, that was good.
The opening to the Edmonton, Florida game 1, because they did monologues again.
Yep.
Like back in the day, you would have Bob Costas or Summerall or somebody would have this lead in with a monologue. They did like a feature to lead into the Stanley Cup. So you're like, oh my gosh, grab me some popcorn. This is a big deal.
Waiting for the Edmonton Flash. I was like, you know what? I'm okay.
ABC treats the NBA like it's just the NBA and we're going to watch. Well, I'll tell you what, people aren't watching.
Yeah.
Doesn't help that this has been a series.
Case in point, Friday, I'll be watching baseball.
All right.
Especially with the CWS.
You're right, Gary. Think about even what we have coming up here in Omaha is we'll have the monologue or some big build up to the presentation of game 1. They'll do the championship series the exact same way they build that up. And it's almost as if they feel, well, not a lot of people watch hockey, so we've got to amplify it. Not a lot of people maybe watch the College World Series. We got to amplify it. You're right. No, you're absolutely right. They feel like, hey, you know what? Let's not put all of our efforts into the NBA because that's already got the built-in audience. We're good there. And when you have the lack of build-up on top of the games themselves, other than seeing Luka talk trash to David Portnoy, I mean, really, what are we seeing?
Man, I love him. Luka, not Dave Portnoy.
Luka coming out wrapped up like a mummy in pregame was fantastic.
I hate to tell you guys, but that's how I go to bed at night when you get a little bit older. Your whole body wrapped now.
Ice pack on the chest, knees, back, head.
Ice in the knees in the back of the bus.
Elbow.
Yeah.
When they turn off the hardcore NBA fans, though, that's the big problem.
Yep.
Well,
a lot of them are.
You can get excited and look forward to the NBA draft. Hell, the bigger news is what is Hurley going to do today? This is decision day for Dan Hurley. He's going to stay or he's going to go. If he's going to enjoy some Billy Joel at MSG, or he's going to go and enjoy Luda at the Forum.
Is that what we associate the New York music scene to Billy Joel and then the LA music scene to Luda?
Hey,
I'm okay with this.
Dan Hurley knows how to play. He was at MSG to check out Billy Joel, who's down to what, I think one more appearance at MSG, and then his run is over.
And you said you get to see him later this summer, right?
Yeah.
Oh, that's going to be for you. I love that.
All right. Welcome in, everybody. We do have a lot to catch up on after the week. It is a busy week. It starts with the College World Series, which, of course, you're home for the College World Series. Is right here on the Zone beginning on Friday. We will be down at Baseball Village. We'll have the games. We'll be there, the pre and the play and the post and all that fun stuff that is going on for the All-SEC ACC Invitational that our city is hosting.
Brought
Coming
to you
up
by Bojangles.
a little bit later, the lineup brought to you by the Roof Freezer John Higgins Weather Guard. Evan Bland will stop by at 8:30. Also, Jacob Bigelow is in at 9. Maybe we can generate some excitement.
I want to hear about the Sphere trip.
Yeah,
all I want to hear about.
I just got back from Vegas.
What was that, Grateful Dead?
Yeah, Dead and Company.
Which I have been told, I have not been out there yet. I have been told that the best seats are not the ones on the floor.
I believe that.
That if you sit further away, you get the experience. But I don't think if you're a Deadhead, it matters. If you could say that I saw the Grateful Dead play at the Sphere in Las Vegas, you're like, I'm good.
Yeah,
I'm good. So Jacob will join us coming up at 9. Also, so not only do you have the College World Series for baseball, it is Father's Day on Sunday. Don't forget about that.
Ooh.
What else do we have going on? Oh, NASCAR is over in Newton, Iowa. So if you are, traveling the highways and byways, you may start to see some haulers coming through Omaha.
Maybe today when I'm driving back.
Well, let's see. They're coming from Sonoma, so they're out in the San Francisco area. So probably not.
We're going opposite ways. Okay.
Yeah. All right. That's the lineup. There is Nick. He'll be back in studio tomorrow. Jimmy is here as well. Good lineup. Good conversation. We got lots to discuss. Not only just college baseball, but what happened between Florida and Clemson yesterday. Is it not the craziest game that you maybe have ever watched when it comes to baseball? If not, the 7th inning last night in College Station may have topped it. And guess who's coming? Guess who's coming to
Trev.
Omaha?
At least there's that. I was about ready to adopt the Ducks, and I said, I got my team to adopt.
Jim Schlossnagle has brought his baseball team to Omaha, and his athletic director will be coming right with him.
Didn't you guys call this several months ago?
Yeah.
They're really good.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
I mean,
they're a
they
good team.
lost a top 5 draft pick to an injury the other day. Montgomery, just a gruesome injury at home plate, but they're still good enough. I mean, I think this is a good field. But will it be an all SEC or an all ACC? How would you like to be Tennessee? Tennessee is the lone SEC team on the Friday bracket. North Carolina State could be the lone ACC team on the Saturday bracket, but I love Tennessee, Florida State. I think when they announce the start times, Nick and Jimmy, I think Tennessee, Florida State is a marquee game Friday night, and that might be the best game of the opening 2 days.
Rematch of the first BCS
And then
title game.
Then I think you'll get, and everybody still looks at whether it be the tournament starting on a Saturday or starting on a Friday like it does now. You always look at that Saturday night primetime game as like the game. That's the showcase. I wouldn't be surprised if we get Florida, Texas A&M as that game.
Yeah, Florida A&M, that obviously has juice, but man, if Georgia wins, you get Kentucky, Georgia as well. That's one hell of a option there as far as what you want to do with those Saturday games.
All right, you can always join the conversation. You got thoughts on the weekend. 402-951-1620. That is the hotline brought to you by 42 Degrees The Source by your mom's house. You can always email us into the Equitable Bank inbox. Their duo locations here in Omaha, where they take banking personally and professionally, and all the time they take banking seriously. Gary at 1620thezone.com.
Handley, 1620thezone.com.
Also on the JTech Construction Zone Twitter feed at Gary Sharp 1620.
At Nick Handley, 1620.
All right, we're going to go through bit by bit. What in the heck happened in Clemson, South Carolina yesterday? Was it a good thing or a bad thing for the sport? Because everybody is talking about it, even people that pay no attention to college baseball. We'll dive into that and much more as we roll till 10 to kick off a busy week when the pearly gates of college baseball open up in downtown Omaha, and in walks 8 baseball teams and a drunken fan ready to have some debauchery in our city.
That one lady will be back this year. Find a new person.
Oh, well, the characters will be back.
Yeah.
I'm looking.
That's what I'm
we
doing.
might
They're
get
always here.
We might get Mongo from Florida State. He might show up.
You guys have taught me the baseball. That's nice and everything, but it's everything else that you look forward to.
We might get the gritty kid from Texas A&M who is
yeah.
here again this weekend. Kid doesn't have any parents. Pretty cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, big fan of Texas A&M baseball. And also explain the hat that I'm wearing today. I went to Ronza night.
Glorious.
I went to Ronza night, and they celebrated the Omaha burrito. It was pretty cool. And they gave away these hats. All right, there's Nick, there's Jimmy. It's Mornings with Sharp and Handley at 1620 The Zone.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com with Gary Sharp and Nick Handley. Now live on Twitch, YouTube, and 1620thezone.com.
Hey everybody, it's Michael Sevilla for Ted and Wally's. There's so much going on in the Benson area all summer long. And one of the great things about it is when you're down there, whether you're checking out an art exhibit or you're going to one of the great stores or even swinging by one of the great bars and restaurants, you can also stop by Ted and Wally's and top off your day or night. You know how that is. You go out, you get a great meal, but you need a little bit of something sweet at the end. And the place to get the best in sweetness is at Ted and Wally's Premium Ice Cream. You can swing by there while you're in Benson, checking out all the great summer activities. And if you're downtown, lots of great summer activities down there as well, whether it's art festivals and that big baseball tournament, all that's going on down there as well. Swing by the Old Market location and get yourself some great ice cream. Hey, the bullpen's right there too, right? As baseball is going on, you swing by there, you can get a coupon for some free ice cream from the folks over at 1620 The Zone. You can get all of that. It is a great time for ice cream because it's the summer. Both locations are open and ready for you, whether it's the Old Market or in Benson. And when you stop by, tell them Severe sent you.
If you need bold banners to boost your business, but you're on a budget, think Staples. Because now at Staples, you can save up to $50 on your print purchase. From posters and flyers to signs and menus, Staples can print anything you need to move your business forward. And with Staples Print Perfect Guarantee, it's done right or it's printed again free. Plus, same-day service is available on hundreds of items if you order by noon. Get it printed right at Staples. And now get up to $50 off your print purchase. And 76, visit staples.com/print for details.
Pro Paint Days are back at Lowe's. Save $40 on select 5-gallon HGTV Home by Sherwin-Williams paint, like Weather Shield, Showcase, or ceiling paint. Plus, save $10 on drywall PVA primer and get free same-day delivery to the job site when you order by 2 p.m. Lowe's knows paint. Lowe's knows pros. Offers valid through 6/14. Delivery by 8 p.m. Subject to driver availability. Additional terms apply. See Lowe's.com/same-day delivery for details.
The 2024 Men's College World Series plays here on 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com. Presented locally by Woodhouse Ford. Every pitch, every hit, every game. Also brought to you by Patera Landscaping, Pinnacle Bank, and Cubby's Convenience Stores. Don't miss a minute of Omaha's biggest event, the 2024 Men's College World Series on 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com.
Getting quality employees to fill positions in your company is essential, but finding those people can be a major hassle, unless you use ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter makes finding quality people a breeze. And right now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. With ZipRecruiter, one click sends your job to hundreds of top job sites. But more than that, ZipRecruiter's advanced technology identifies the candidates with the skills you need, sends you a list of great matches to review, then actively invites them to apply for your job. And the results speak for themselves. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. That's right, the first day. Now you can focus on your business and let ZipRecruiter do the work finding the best people for you. See for yourself. Experience the ease, efficiency, and power of ZipRecruiter for free. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
And we're back. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Here's Gary, Nick, and Jimmy on 1620 The Zone.
All right, mornings with Sharp and Handley. Jimmy here as well. Split show. Nick is on his way back from his beach front property in the state of Michigan. You laugh. Well, I thought this was real.
It's not a beachfront property here.
It's radio. Lean into it.
We're in a neighborhood right now. There's no.
Well, you were.
No water.
Now you.
Brentwood was a neighborhood too.
Now you've made it back.
Yeah.
You're on your way back, is what I should say. But you are at your exclusive. I have my own beach property in Michigan.
Yeah, well, we're next door to Tom Izzo.
There you go. There you go.
It was good to see Coach Izzo.
Wayne Fonts is your other
excited. He's excited about the season. Yeah. We some of Detroit's finest as well. That's great.
Lane Beer punched you already.
You just need that little place, that little outlet, Gary. I mean, you have that in Florida. I have that in Michigan. Okay.
Exactly. All right, so there was, there was, especially Saturday when the story came out about Caitlin Clark being snubbed by the Olympic team. That as I was watching social media, and 75% of the people that I think that were outraged just do that, and they don't really believe in their outrage.
They just want to be involved.
Do you guys think I'm too high on that? That yes, they want to be involved, and they just they feel like they got to say something.
How do we feel?
You don't have to say something about everything. So I'm going to put it at 75% of the people that are outraged really are not outraged, but they felt compelled to say something. But when that was going on, I thought, God, football can't get here soon enough. But through all of that discussion that is now going to enter day number 3, and especially in Sports Talk Radio, the College World Series being set, I will tell you the biggest thing and the most important thing that happened this weekend happened in Eugene, Oregon. It is, and because the sport doesn't get as much attention around here, but the sport in this state is really, really good. Darius Huff winning the men's 110-meter high hurdles in a blazing 13.19 on Friday night is the best thing by far that happened in this state. Kudos to him. So the Nebraska women track and field, they finished in the top 10 for the second straight year. But listen to this. I want people to understand how big a deal this is. You had not only a Nebraska athlete win, and it's the 9th fastest time in the history of that event. But it is a Nebraskan representing Nebraska that won, as the former Lincoln High Link was blazing. And he had, I remember watching him at the state track and field tournament. He's awesome. And he has been good in his entire college career. And he has come close to jumping up to, more of a USA type, where you're making nationals or things like that. But what he did on Friday night, I hope it gets the proper attention. We are giving it the proper attention. I hope people understand how big a deal that was.
Well, and the cool thing is you saw a lot of, maybe more because going into this week, this was really the last thing with Nebraska athletics before the season was completely over with. And you had sort of a standalone moment with what Luff accomplished. The amount of social media buzz that it was getting, I think, turned a lot of people's heads, and so it did get that attention. If you had Nebraska still in the regional, if you had other things like that, I don't know if it does. I don't know if it does get enough attention, but I like the fact that, I think it helps, obviously, the story that you did have that as sort of a standalone college event that Nebraska was involved in, and then you see that type of performance. And you're right, Gary. When you have a Lincoln High product, you have a local product that is able to do something like that, accomplish something like that, and then all of a sudden we're seeing all kinds of footage and videos from the state track and people saying, hey, I told you back then this guy was special. And so you had a lot of people chiming in on it. It does. I think it is getting the attention that I don't know if it gets otherwise, because it was a standalone event here for Nebraska athletics this last weekend.
Yeah, if you go back, so when he was at Lincoln High, Luff was unbelievable. And I think I'd have to ask the caretaker of the track and field state records and Stu Pospisil if Luff still holds the same event record time in the state of Nebraska, because he won it in back-to-back years. And I think he might. But for him to run, for Luff to go to Eugene in the NCAA track and field championships and run 13.19. Now, I don't know. I'm not an expert on track and field. I'm not going to sit here and, try and explain my way through this and say, yeah, I went to the Drake relays as a little kid, so now I know everything there is to know about track and field. I just know that is blazing. Yeah. That is absolutely blazing. And it is, Darius Luff, Lincoln High, University of Nebraska, incredible athlete. And I think he solidifies himself as the athlete of the year at Nebraska. Darius Luff.
Can we also add into the difficulty of hurdles with that? It's one thing to just be able to no. And even some of the state track meets that I've covered a long time ago, even at that level, you see just that one misstep and someone catches it. Like, it's one thing to be fast, but to be able to do that pickup speed, let's not dismiss the degree of difficulty that comes with not only being a sprinter, but being able to have the hurdle element down too. It's something. I'm with you. You accomplish something like that. You set a record like that in a sport that doesn't get as much attention unless we're talking about the Olympics. Absolutely. I think that's more than worthy of having that type of accolade there.
Nick says, yes, his record in the 110 hurdles for Nebraska high school still stands. It was the fastest electronic time in the history of Nebraska state track and field when he ran it in 2019, which would have been his senior year at Lincoln High. But now he is a national champion with Nebraska track and field. So we are efforting to get Darius Luff on the show, so I can ask him the question that I asked Jalen Lloyd. What's it like to be so fast?
Great question.
You feel like you can fight crime.
Well, I don't even know if you realize it. If you are running that fast, if you realize how fast you are. He ran 13.19 to win the NCAA championship in the 110 hurdles. Come on. Yeah. What are we doing here?
Yeah.
What were we doing yesterday in Clemson, South Carolina?
Where do you want to start?
Well, let me just go through. I'll let you fill in here.
Okay.
Because I'm pretty sure that yesterday in game 2 of the Florida-Clemson showdown that went 5 hours and 5 minutes and included 3 ejections, cameras going down, controversy, reviews, oh my God moments. It is one of the craziest sporting events I think I've ever watched on television. And let me just give you a little piece, and I probably am going to miss things that happened in this game. So you had Jack Caglione hit a home run over the batter's eye. Yep. They didn't have a camera that could show you the trajectory of the home run. By the way, will Jack Caglione actually take an official at bat in the College World Series? Will everybody not pitch to him and Charlie Condon from Georgia? So you had that. And then you had an ejection after the benches cleared on a shoving match following a tag. The runner that was at second base for Clemson got thrown out of the game. Eric Bakich, who would later get thrown out of the game, the head coach for Clemson, made Creighton come out of the dugout so the umpires could throw him out instead of him telling his player that he had been thrown out. Then we have Canarella in the 9th hits a game-tying home run. But wait, in the bottom of the inning, with the season on the line, if he doesn't make the catch, the season is over and Florida is coming to Omaha. Now, eventually they would in the 13th inning, but this is the 9th inning. We have a series-saving Willie Mays catch in center field. Then, as we go to extras, the only working camera on the ESPN broadcast is the one that is behind the plate. So, we are dealing with that. And we already have 2 announcers in Dave Neal and Chris Burke who are upset because they did not get proper communication on what the heck happened with the ejection earlier in the game.
Chris Burke, Astros hero.
Then, as the game is becoming a tension convention, and you're thinking that Brandon Neely of Florida is going to throw 400 pitches in this outing, they make an announcement that the game is going to be bumped from ESPN to ESPNU for Sunday Night Baseball. And then in mid-sentence, they cut off Dave Neal to go to the Dodgers-Yankees game. And I think, because this is crazy what's going on, a lot of people said, where's the remote? I'm flipping. Then you had a catcher back-picking a pinch runner off of first on the first pitch that guy came in for Clemson. Oh, I'm not done. Then you have, in the top of the 13th inning, you have a guy that hits a go-ahead home run, and he spikes his bat. He doesn't get thrown out of the game, but his head coach and the guy that is a legend that used to be the head coach there, they both get thrown out of the game. Eric Bakich then goes after one of the umpires. That means it's an additional suspension because he did not leave the field in proper time. And then he stands in the middle of the field and riles up his crowd. So he's gone. Jack Leggett is gone. And the guy that pimped the home run doesn't get thrown out of the game.
You know, yesterday's 25-year anniversary of Bobby Valentine.
Yes.
One of them could have done it.
Then in the bottom of the inning, now you've got a pitcher out there who is, there's the place is juiced up. You've had some downtime. Florida comes back, and Florida walks it off in the bottom of the 13th to get to the College World Series. I think I covered it all, what happened in that game, 5 hours and 5 minutes. Yeah. I may have left some things out. It is one of the craziest games that I think I have ever watched in any sport, not just baseball, in any sport, with all of those twists and turns. And if I'm a Clemson fan, don't you think it's okay, Nick, not to go to work today?
Yeah, it is.
I don't know how both sides weren't worn out. If you were a diehard of Clemson or Florida, if you were not worn out watching that game, but that is an absolutely brutal way for Clemson's season to come to an end.
Oh, absolutely. Well, first of all, the Jack Leggett ejection. I had to look up what he was doing. He's player development on the staff. I did not know that until we got into the Super Regional. Had no idea. I'm like, that's Jack Leggett. Oh my God. Oh, he's on player development. So he's essentially a volunteer. assistant for a program that you're right. He's legendary status. In fact, you saw his name out there on the outfield wall.
Yes.
So there are a lot of thoughts with this one. And I'm going to start with the guy that I've kind of put on blast the last week now, Eric Bakich. What happened yesterday was a perfect example of why I have a love-hate relationship with Eric Bakich. He does things that get under my skin so bad. The riling up the crowd thing, I'm like, that is such an Eric Bakich thing to do, just to make it about him in the moment and do something that's kind of douchebaggery. But I absolutely love that he didn't agree with what happened with Crichton. So I thought it was actually a really kind of a funny move, but I liked it that he's like, I'm not ejecting him. You can do it yourself because I don't agree with that. I actually did like that move. But you asked the question earlier in the show about umpiring, if you get a lot of eyeballs that are starting to tune into college baseball and how you interpret that. You could tell if you're watching that series, but especially yesterday. I mean, when you're in a winner-take-all type scenario, it should be this way. But emotions between these two teams were hot. And I feel like either they didn't anticipate this, the crew didn't anticipate this, or in the moment they didn't know how to respond to it. And so I just think that the competitiveness in that game, in a heated game, where there's the whole we can do everything by the letter of the law, or we can just let them play. The whole Crichton ejection, okay, again, by the letter of the law. If he leaves his position at second base and joins in on what is perceived to be an altercation, it clearly was. You technically should be ejected for that. But if you're looking at the amount of people that came to that altercation as well, there was a lot of different things you could have done. I feel like that you could have let slide. You give warnings. And then when you get together for the bat toss to decide if a guy should be thrown out because he spiked the bat, and during that whole discussion that seemed like it took forever, that you start getting the coaching staff is so fired up.
20 minutes it took.
Just to decide that you're not going to throw him out, but in the process, you've now pissed off the head coach and a legendary coach as well, who obviously has no patience for that. So from the umpiring standpoint, it looked like a group that had zero control of this game. It looked like they did not know how to officiate a game that was so high on emotions, and it should have been. Now, as far as the play on the field,
and the one back to Bakich that comes from the Michigan day. Yeah, there is some. I've got the lead oar in the douche canoe with Eric Bakich. All right, he's a great hire for Clemson. That's 2 straight years, though, that, man, on their home field, they have had a brutal exit. Now you come back and you look, stand in the middle of the field trying to pump up your crowd. Florida outscored them 2-0 after that move. Right. So there's a little bit there.
Gary, he would have missed. If they win that game, he would have been gone for 2 games in the CWS.
Well, I know, because he didn't leave. If he would have just left, he wouldn't have been suspended. But there's the rule that he hasn't, when you don't leave, you get suspended. It's just that game, the guy that he went after is a guy that is here regularly in Omaha. So I don't know if I'm buying they weren't ready for the moment. That's one of their top umpires. And from what I was told last night, it's one of their highly rated crews of 4 they put together for that super. So I just think that was they had a bad day at the office, and that's a bad day to have that's a bad time to have a bad day at the office, because there were a lot of people that were watching that game, and it's a bad look for college baseball. And then the lack of communication. The one thing we can say, oh, SEC, quit telling me that about baseball. The one thing the SEC has done about baseball is their replay is efficient. Mm-hmm. They got some of the best umpires, and yet we have a replay system that yesterday you have the great catch and Cantarella's 9th inning, but we're going to talk about a 15-minute delay, a 20-minute delay, ejections in this game. Mm-hmm. Mel reminds me an umpire interference on a steal of third that also happened in this game.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
I mean, absolutely crazy game yesterday. But here's the other part of, you focus on what happened in the 13th, and Cantarella's catch at the wall is one of the best catches you'll ever see. I mean, one of the best 9th innings by an individual you'll ever see. a game-tying home run and then a game season-saving catch at the time. But, Willie Mays in the 54 World Series in Game 1 makes a catch.
Yep.
Does that catch yesterday just completely get forgotten about now?
Oh,
That you don't really talk about it anymore because you ended up losing that game?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a catch that it's going to be shown to an extent, and maybe with the montage that we anticipate on Friday leading into the broadcast, you're going to see all of the road to Omaha. You're going to see some of the great plays. That's going to highlight every one of them. It should, but absolutely it loses its luster on that one. But you know what? And here's to your point you brought up earlier of this was a good thing yesterday. The athlete in college baseball, if you just watched that series and watched those two teams going head to head, and you watch the plays that were being made, you watch some of the big strikeouts that in key moments. And I know it's kind of hard to think when you had that many runs and that type of offense, but the emotions, the size of these guys, the abilities of these guys, the plays that were made both offensively and defensively in a crazy game. That right there was your prime example of what you were alluding to, Gary, about the athlete and the style of player that you're seeing in the college game that is now making their way into professional baseball. It is exciting to see that. And those two teams display that better than anybody.
All right, Jimmy's got an update coming up here in a little bit. We'll talk more about the wildness of yesterday in college baseball. 7 of the 8 spots are filled. North Carolina State or Georgia is coming next. It'll be an all SEC, ACC. And scary in college baseball as the athlete is better, the attention is greater, they want more scholarships. Isn't that the last thing you'd want if you are not in the SEC? Because more scholarships available for college baseball, and the SEC already has a big bag. Now they won't need a bag. They just hand you a scholarship. Isn't that scary?
Absolutely it is.
We will discuss that. There's a lot of those kind of things around the game of college baseball we'll discuss throughout the entire week. But Jimmy's got an update coming up next. We will dive into what happened last night in Boston, which the broadcast is probably more of the story than the game, which is not a good thing if you are the NBA. Plus, Nebraska football recruiting and a departure from Nebraska football. That's all to come as we roll till 10 on the Monday of the first week of the College World Series that comes your way. 86 at first pitch on Friday. You ready for that?
Tasty.
I think it'll be North Carolina, Virginia. That'd be my pick for the first game of the series. 86. Good thing it's not starting on Thursday. Thursday is going to be 95.
Yeah, that's typically. We'll get that at some point. We know
people will freak out. I will laugh.
It could be warm all we want. We just don't need any preset.
No delays.
That's all we're asking. Update coming up next on Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com. Live from the Host Coffee Studio, this is 1620 The Zone. 1620 The Zone. Traffic.
From the Pyramid Roofing Time Saving Traffic Center. Looks like the roads are quiet in the Omaha Metro with no accidents or delays to report. Couple things to keep in mind throughout the week. Northbound 72nd still closed between F and I-80 due to bridge work. So if you want to get on the interstate, you'll have to take the detours through either 84th or 60th. Millard Ave is still closed in both directions between 144th and U. Like I said, traffic flow is smooth sailing at the moment. You don't have to worry about being late to your destination. Just be sure to buckle up and drive safe out there. I'm Joey Colbert.
This time-saving traffic is brought to you by Modern Real Estate.
Introducing Modern Real Estate, the game changer in Nebraska's property market. With a competitive 2% commission rate, we're making buying, selling, and investing more affordable and transparent than ever. Visit modernrealestateco.com and experience the future of real estate today. Introducing Modern Real Estate, the game changer in Nebraska's property market. With a competitive 2% commission rate, we're making buying, selling, and investing more affordable and transparent than ever. Our experienced agents blend local expertise with cutting-edge technology to provide top-notch personalized service to all clients. Don't settle for less when you can save big without compromising. Visit modernrealestateco.com and experience the future of real estate today. Modern Real Estate, redefining the way you do real estate.
The baseball world comes to Omaha, And 1620 The Zone is running the show. All the excitement of the Men's College World Series. The insight, the fun, and the stories behind the games. Live from the Omaha Baseball Village. Powered by Access Bank and Children's Nebraska. Also brought to you by Union Bank and Trust, Nebraska Drug Enforcement Administration, and Park Omaha. Don't miss a minute of the biggest event in the Big O on your station for the Men's College World Series. 1620 The Zone.
Are you the decision maker in your company? Consider this. For the first time in decades, there's a better option for a corporate card and spend management platform. Meet Ramp, the only corporate card and spend management system designed to help you spend less money so you can make more. Most corporate credit cards offer points as incentives, but those points amount to less than their worth in real cash value. Ramp's business cards offer you cash back, real money in your pocket. Plus, you control who spends what with each vendor. And Ramp's software collects and verifies receipts automatically, which means you'll stop wasteful spending and close your books in hours instead of days. Businesses that use Ramp add up to 5% to their bottom line the first year. If you're a decision maker, adding Ramp could be one of the best decisions you've ever made. And now get $250 when you join Ramp for free. Just go to ramp.com/sports. Ramp.com/sports. ramp.com/sports.
Cards issued by Sutton Bank and Celtic Bank, members of FDIC. Terms and conditions apply.
The Omaha Farmers Market offers the city's best selection of farm fresh, locally grown produce May 4th through October 13th. Open rain or shine in the old market every Saturday from 8 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. and in Exarban Village every Sunday from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. To keep up with what's in season, visit omahafarmersmarket.org and follow them on Facebook and Instagram. Sponsored by KETV Channel 7.
Hey everybody, it's Jimmy Allen here.
And John Schreiner.
When the After Hours Lounge opens from 6 to 8 p.m., I drag John into all my conspiracy theories.
And I put up fierce resistance as the voice of reason in the room.
But along the way, we hit all the usual suspects: Huskers, Jays, Bruins.
And nobody goes in-depth on high school sports, bringing you all the best teams from around the Omaha Metro.
So stop by, open up a tab, and join in the crazy.
As the sports schedule allows.
We're brought to you by Bellevue University
on 1620 The Zone.
Success in today's electrical market requires your company to be able to adjust to an ever-changing field. A partnership with IBEW Local 22 gives you that flexibility with access to journeymen, apprentices, proven training programs, marketing assistance, entry into markets not available before, ability to expand and contract with changing market conditions, and a benefits package for you and your employees. Contact Bob at IBEW Local 22 for additional details at 402-980-7596.
Tickets for less. Best seats, best prices, no service fees. Shop ticketsforless.com. KOZN Bellevue, Omaha, Council Bluffs. This is 1620 The Zone.
That's what happens when you're not paying attention. All right, there we go. Computer froze, and Nick's not muted. So Memphis beats the Storm Chasers 2-0. Yesterday, Werder Park, Omaha had won 28 of its previous 33 games before dropping 3 straight to split the 6-game series. Omaha, which scored 16 runs on Thursday, was scoreless over the final 21 innings of the series. They're still good, though. Memphis scored Sunday's only runs on groundouts in the second and third innings against Chris Bubich, who was making an injury rehab start. He allowed 2 runs and 5 hits in 5 innings. The Storm Chasers hit the road to open a series at Toledo. Many forget they used to be a Double-A power under manager Lou Brown in the mid to late 1980s. Nebraska men's track and field tied for 13th in team standings at the NCAA Outdoor Track and Field Championships. And Tyus Wilson secured silver on Friday with 19 total team points, tied for 13. The Husker men earned their best team finish since tying for 10th in 2016 and brought their most team points since 10 years ago. And you heard about Darius Luff earlier. He became the first NCAA 110-meter hurdles champion in school history with a blazing 13:19 clocked. They ran this in Eugene. That's a big deal for track and field. This marks his 7th NCAA championship meet, 4th time being named a first-team All-American, and he's from Lincoln, so he's one of your own. Is now tied for 9th in collegiate history and 8th in the world this year. There, positive, uplifting story. Celtics center Kristaps Porzingis, almost said Robert Parrish, said he believes the plan is for him to get imaging on his right leg after appearing to tweak it late in Boston's 105-98 victory over the Dallas Mavericks. It was game 2 of the NBA Finals. Doesn't feel like it. Just feels like a regular season game in December. But he expects to be on the court as the series shifts to Dallas for Game 3. Porzingis, who missed more than 5 weeks with a calf strain before returning in Game 1 of the finals, appeared to tweak the same leg late in the fourth quarter Sunday. Played for a couple more possessions before checking out with 4:40 to go in favor of Al Horford and remained on the bench for the rest of the game. The Celtics lead 2-0. Game 3, if he cares, Wednesday in Dallas. Florida Panthers goaltender Sergei Bobrovsky was impenetrable.
Goalie Bob.
Yeah. 3-0 Stanley Cup final Game 1 victory over Edmonton. But the Oilers are confident they can find ways to beat him. At least they have confidence. Goalie Bob stopped all 32 shots he faced in Game 1. He held the line in the first period when the Panthers were outshot 12-4. He made 6 saves on the penalty kill where Florida went 3 for 3 against a unit that was converting at over 37% after 3 rounds of the playoffs. Game 2 is tonight before they Iditarod to Canada for Games 3 and 4. It's going to be fun. Baseball, Royals lose at home to the Mariners 6-5. Hold on, no jokes here. They're good. They took 2 of 3 over the M's. They are 4 games back of first place Cleveland. Just threw that in there for Nick. Thank you for that. Finally, New York Giants tight end Darren Waller calling it a career. He's only 31, but he discussed his decision to retire in a video, posted to the YouTube yesterday, saying that a health scare he experienced in November gave him clarity about his life. He detailed a very scary situation during which he struggled to breathe and ultimately spent 3.5 days in the hospital, unable to stand up, use the restroom, or feed himself. I remember being like that in college, but it had nothing to do with being sick. Waller didn't disclose the exact nature of the illness he battled, and here I thought this was just something about Kelsey Plum and coming up for air. Anyway, but whatever. So if you were going to draft him on your fantasy team, don't. He's done. It's over. And the Cubs won yesterday. Can't forget everybody. The Astros lost. That's what they do.
Yeah.
But I did watch them Saturday, and they won.
Big week for the Royals. They have 4 with the Yankees down at the K, and then they go to Los Angeles to take on the Dodgers.
Exciting.
Watching them Friday night, and then what they did yesterday with MJ Melendez in the bottom of the ninth. You have to watch them to the final out. I would think, though, man, the National League is a mess. The American League is good.
The
American
Royals
League
would be in the
Central
playoffs now if it started.
They would. Nick's Cleveland Guardians.
Yeah.
The division. But look at this. So 12 teams are going to make the playoffs. There are only 10 teams that are better than 500 in baseball right now. There is one team that's at 500. And then there are 19 teams that are below 500. So you're into playoff or bust, right? With the Guardians?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay,
I think at this point, when you are 20 games above 500 at this point of the season, as we're now getting into mid-June, it definitely shifts expectations for sure. And remember, I was not high on this team going into the season, but now you start to get to a point where even in some of your little trip ups, they haven't gone on this. Like what the Twins have experienced recently too, where you haven't gone on this prolonged losing streak. That they've had some inexplicable losses. They had a series loss to the White Sox earlier, but yeah, they continue to come back, and even against good competition, they're showing that they're right there. I'm saying 20 games over 500 at this point. Yeah, it's playoff or bust.
I think between the next month, one of the more fascinating things in baseball, along with the Royals and the Guardians are both really good stories, is will Baltimore have 2 starters or will Kansas City have 2 starters at those same positions? So Rutschman or Perez at catcher, Gunnar Henderson or Bobby Witt Jr., who, man, is making a push to be an MVP candidate. Which Oriole or Royal will get the starting nod? Because it could be 2 Royals or 2 Orioles. I mean, all 4 guys are going to make the American League All-Star team.
No, this is 2014.
But the other thing about Bobby Witt Jr., and I mean, they had George Brett, and if you were back in the day, when Brett would come to the plate, there would be a buzz. You went to the ballpark to watch George Brett. And Bobby Witt Jr. is early in his career. It's a long way away. But there's that kind of, you watch him. I mean, the guy the other night, and he's also part of a golden age of Kansas City sports, him and Mahomes.
That's what I was thinking.
He's a golden age right now in the American League of shortstops. It seems like every team in the American League has a banger at shortstop, whether they be a vet, maybe whether they be a young guy or they got somebody coming. Shortstop is back, baby. Shortstop is the position to play. Don't let your babies grow up to be quarterbacks. Make them be shortstops or left-handed pitchers.
And you tight ends.
Yeah, that's all we do in Nebraska is we produce tight ends. Look at what he did Friday night. How many times Do you see a right-handed hitter line a ball into the left field corner and end up with a triple?
Yeah.
That's what he did Friday night as part of their whole comeback when they were down 8-0 early against Seattle. He has risen up onto the list of must watch. Like, I would like an app that I could put certain baseball players or like a Paul Skeens, and all I get is their content. Like when they're coming to the plate or they're pitching,
you get a ding.
I get a ding, and then I can click on it and I can see their at bat or see the inning that they're throwing. Because he's an amazing player, and I don't know, he's got that George Brett, this is what I did for a franchise feel.
Yeah, and the part about his game that if we're talking about the shortstops in general, remember there was a time when we were growing up, you had more of the Ozzie Smiths, the short guys that were more defensively sound, very, you got a little bit of offense, but it wasn't necessarily power numbers. It was more base hits, gaps, things of that nature. Then we saw the evolution. You start getting guys that are a little bit more long, taller, hit for power. But you also saw what maybe they gave up a little bit at shortstop. I mean, Derek Jeter was, again, probably the best balance that we saw during that run where it started to transition from that prototype. Now what Bobby Witt Jr., the thing that I love about him the most is we see that position always, it demands athleticism. I mean, that's always been a constant. But now you see the type of balance to where what he does defensively is must watch. The range that he has is must watch. The arm that he possesses is must watch. But then when it comes to then you look at what he does offensively, and everybody will look at he's a multi-home run guy a game in several games now this season. But also that ability, that clutch gene. That's the other thing too, is so young in his career, there's that clutch gene that comes with it as well. And usually that takes time to develop after you've had enough experience, you've had enough at bats, you've had enough of just the living Major League Baseball life of knowing, what that's going to take in certain situations. I mean, that's the one thing this year, watching him, he's got that part of it too. And so you feel like you're just scratching the surface with what Bobby Witt Jr. can do. But all of those things together, it's a superstar. Yeah, he's a franchise lifter, and the fact that the Royals went off script of what they typically do when it comes to a lot of their young stars in organizational history, that they went ahead and said, hey, you know what, this guy is special. We're going to go ahead and sign him. We're going to go ahead and keep him here now. That's not typical business for the Kansas City Royals.
No, and it's paying off because now you have somebody you can latch on to. You hope to be a Royal for his entire career until he ends his career in Chicago playing for the Cubs when he's in his late 30s.
Oh, he ain't going to Cleveland. I can guarantee you that.
So over the weekend, Nebraska football, by the way, I don't know if it was the price or the marketing, but Nebraska this weekend in their camps in Lincoln had monster numbers. Now, they gave out a lot of offers, but they had a lot of players that were in camp. They did pick up their 10th commitment from another in-stater. So Pierce Newberry from Millard North will join his teammate and will become a Husker on the class of 2025. Now, I think it is not fair to say he is an under-the-radar prospect. He plays on both sides of the ball at Millard North, plays linebacker, plays a little tight end, but his future in college is playing linebacker, and he's got to put some weight on. I don't think it's fair to say, Nick, he's an under-the-radar prospect, because if you've watched Millard North play, and especially last year, you probably found yourself saying, boy, how come he doesn't have more offers? So he kind of followed the process. Like Nebraska did their evaluation, and they followed him, and they built a relationship, and then they liked some things they saw in terms of metrics and said, this is a guy we're going to offer, and they got their commitment yesterday. So I don't think it's under the radar. I think it's how the process works with an in-state player. And he's a guy that probably won't flash for a couple of years when he gets to college because he's going to have to get a little bit bigger. But I think I will use the word, it's a smart offer for Nebraska.
I actually was hearing this over the weekend, the comparison of another former Millard North player and Sean Fisher. And I think the body types you can definitely look at and say, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Because I remember, I coached Sean in baseball as well, but I remember watching him play a lot of football games. He always stood out because he was playing safety and he was a little bit taller than your normal safety, but what he made up for in speed and ability to come up, meet the ball carrier. I mean, he was all over the field. And from everything that I've seen from Pierce Newberry, there's a lot of that similar ability to go side to side, move upfield, be able to take on ball carriers. But then, his play at tight end as well, where he's obviously going to have that range. I think this doesn't this just fit into the Matt Rule recruiting blueprint of, I want to find a positionless type of player where you have a guy that is extremely athletic. He's got a frame to work with. He's played on both sides of the ball and he's been able to be effective. You're looking at it more on the defensive side of it. But the fact that he has played some safety, he's played some linebacker, you can line him up in some different spots there defensively, depending on how they build him up as well. I think that makes a lot of sense for what Nebraska's doing. And again, not just because it's in state, it's smart because it's in state too, but I think it's also smart because this does run very consistent with what Matt Rule and that staff have looked at with guys that can give you multiple looks and still, room to grow when it comes to the physical makeup of these guys.
Well, hold on. You don't see him as a defensive back.
No. I'm just saying from the fact that he's had the experience in all those different positions, which it just kind of adds to that athleticism. Because I remember again when Sean Fisher was at Millard North, and then when he came to Nebraska, it was pretty well known that he was going to be playing on the defensive side of the football, even though he gave you something on the offense too. But that athleticism as well, it stood out, and I think it just served him very well too, of making that one commitment on that side of the football, where I think obviously a very similar thing with the makeup of Pierce Newberry and that body, where he can impact that team as a linebacker and be able to be effective just with those experiences and that athleticism, where I just feel like Matt Rule really values the athleticism first and foremost before they get into a lot of the concrete numbers of those players.
Yeah, he'll play linebacker in college, and some of the stuff he's doing now with Millard North, and I don't know how it'll change this year with a new coaching staff, but his athleticism and his instincts are still there. He's a really smart football player, and he's a legacy guy. But I think he can cover in space. And, linebackers now are going to have to cover more than the wide receiver out of the backfield, but more likely the tight end. He's probably a few years down the road from really making impact, because I think they're going to have to adjust his body. So he's tall. He's 6'4", about 200, 205 right now. And kind of like when you watch him play, he looks a little bit slimmer than that. So he's probably going to have to put on 25 to 30 pounds. I don't know that I would go much bigger than that. So he's going to have to adjust to college football, and they're going to have to adjust his body. But for an in-state prospect, this is the way it's supposed to work. And there are wins along the way here. Potential down the road for Nebraska in getting an athlete that can fill a role at linebacker. It is a win for the Steve Warren Academy, because Pierce has been a long-time person that has been under the umbrella of the Steve Warren Academy. So you get a former Husker who runs a football academy here in this city, where we are producing more Division I football talent that stays home. And then you also have his dad played at Nebraska. And
it's pretty good too.
Well, and I think that says a lot. Sometimes fathers are, they've got a different eye on how they look at a program in terms of relationships, and they can see through a coach that BS's them, or a position coach. Yeah. And so when, Damon Benning is sending his kid to there, or Neil Smith is sending his kid. I mean, it could go on and on. But when a guy that played there, his son goes there, and it's not like, oh, this was a slam dunk from the start. I think that says a lot. There's another thing that I'm and maybe this is just me like listening too closely. It's not just an in-state player when they're making commitments, and then they talk about Nebraska and why they're coming here. I think it's curious, and it's a smart play, because Nebraska has recruited more as a team staff. You don't hear a lot of, I committed to Nebraska because of Coop, or I committed to Nebraska because of Glenn Thomas. I committed to the staff. I'm hearing that more often. And granted, it's small size in this class. They only have 10 so far. But that's something to watch, because Nebraska is recruiting as a staff. That they went to Missouri and got Parker. Yeah, you have a lead guy in the state of Missouri. You have the position coach, but you recruited as an offensive staff. And it tells me a couple of things here, Nick, about that. One, why not use every resource you have in recruiting, whether it be the organization, the facilities, the brand, but also the people, the boots on the ground. guys you're going to see.
It's there for you.
Also, it tells me this. This is a staff that doesn't have clicks.
Yeah, that's a good point.
The previous staff, I thought, got too much into clicks, where it blew me away to hear that was happening, to hear a Travis Fisher say he felt like he was a little bit out on an island. And I'm like, but all of you guys came together from Central Florida. But it became very cliquish. You know, there would be a group over here, and then there would be Travis Fisher kind of on an island.
It's like high school.
Yeah. I don't sense that with this staff, that they all have a really good relationship. Now, it helps when
that
your employer, you know, lays down, hey, this is the guardrails. So I think that goes a ways as well. So that's something to watch. Like, you know, Dawson Merritt just came back from his Alabama visit, and maybe recency bias. People are like, well, I think he's going to go to Alabama. And, you know, he said, what was his quote? Alabama's in a great spot. Yeah, I'd be cautious here about recency bias. I just got back from there because I still like what Nebraska has done in recruiting of him. But he's a guy that has been, you know, a target for Nebraska. And he has talked about being recruited by the staff. Not, I committed to Matt Rule. I committed to Rob Dvorak or, you know, Terrence Knighton. I've committed to Nebraska. Keep an eye on that moving forward with how Nebraska recruits under Matt Rule, because we haven't had that on a regular. We've had eras that they've tried that, but not consistently, like I think Rule's staff has done in about 3 go-arounds of recruiting.
I might be completely off on this when I read Matt Rule, to what you're talking about with not having the clicks, because I think that a lot of these different recruiting visits and updates that you see, and you're seeing photos with like you said, the entire offensive staff or the entire defensive staff. They're getting out there and they're doing that together, which I think does show a pretty strong sales pitch to the program itself. But the other part about it, as far as lack of clicks, is I could have Matt Rule completely wrong, but what we feel he does with his staff is he holds them accountable, but there's also the holding them accountable because he hopes it's going to lead to bigger things for them professionally as well. So I think there's always that collective buy-in, but I think the type of environment that Matt Rule has amongst his coaches is something that it's probably pretty hard to branch off into certain sections, and you do get clicky, and where there's a couple of guys that are being more social with each other and there's more familiarity. I think they're all in the same boat when it comes to they've got a job to do. I think Matt Rule reminds them of that job every day, the enforcing of that job every day to every one of them, whether Matt Rule's been side to side with one of those guys for his entire career or it's a newer addition like Tony White. I think he treats them all professionally. I think he treats them all like men, but I think he also holds every one of them, no matter who your name is, accountable for the job that they have at each part of the season, whether it's coaching a position, coaching the side of the football, or in this this very important month of June of recruiting, holding them all accountable for that. I don't think there's any environment that leads to being able to have those types of clicks. And I think that will ultimately pay off for them.
Yeah, I get it. With an in-state player, you can have the whole staff go greet them in person in their high school. But when I hear out-of-state players that are being recruited and they talk about the whole staff, I think, again, keep an eye on that. Ed writes in to the Equitable Bank inbox. He goes, did you say earlier that is Millard North back? And I think he's being sarcastic. So Millard South is a wagon. Millard South has accumulated a lot of talent, and they've got some great returning talent from last year. Great quarterback, great receiver. Millard South, even though Westside is the 2-time defending champion, probably should be preseason number 1. I imagine that Millard South will be the number 1 team, but it's going to be Westside, Millard South. I mean, 1-2, 2-1, whatever. But is Millard North back? I will say this, and I don't know. They've got a brand new head coach. I think he's a good head coach. They are able to keep players at Millard North because there was literally a coup that was going to happen, and it would have been portal season from Millard North players. So Millard North, you've got Millard South, which will be very, very good this year. And then you have I don't know, is he the dean of Metro? Is Kirk Peterson and Larry Martin the deans of Metro Conference coaching at their respective schools? Like Paul Lamanji has been in the area for a while, but at their respective schools, KP at Millard West, I think, has been at his school longer than anybody else in the metro. So we're
he
2
took over
decades,
after
right?
Dan McLaughlin. So yeah, I think I'm trying to. When was Larry's first year?
So Larry is on his 16th year, 16th or 17th year.
Yeah. So
At Omaha North.
I think Kirk Peterson might. Yeah, I think Kirk Peterson might have him by just a couple. But, yeah, man, that's crazy. And this is the other thing about Millard North that I'm really fascinated to see is what does a new vision look like for this football program? That's all I've ever known growing up, playing high school football, watching Eric Crouch get recruited by Millard North, and then watching the runs that they had, from 03 and a team that wasn't even a 500 team making it to the playoffs and making it all the way to a state championship game. I mean, there was just a lot of things that I sat back and just really had a chance to appreciate by a Fred Petito team, even though nothing was changed. He knew exactly what they're going to do every year. And so a new voice, a new leader in that program, I think is going to be extremely fascinating to see what that program, what that new era will look like. What will they do offensively? How will they look defensively? What will they emphasize when it comes to how they want to ultimately function as an offense? I mean, for people my age that grew up here, this is going to be must-watch high school football season because all we've known is the wing bone, man. All we've known is the guys in motion and the fullback.
It's going to be on a Friday night to see Millard North play.
It is. I'm actually I don't even want to say I'm excited. I'm intrigued. I think, like a lot of people, I'm intrigued because at one point there's been many conversations about Millard North of, okay, Fred, it's time to evolve, get away from the boring old power football game. Football's evolved. When will you? But he stuck to it, and he still was able to get at least a state title in the last decade by doing so. And so there, Fred, I always felt like kind of had the last laugh on everybody who thought that, and I love Fred for that. And in his program, he's one of the most loyal guys you'll ever be around. But now to see, I mean, are they still going to even have the tape on the helmet? All those little things.
Whoa. You want to know that now? That's.
I hope you don't take that away.
No, he's in Augusta, Georgia right now, so he's stirring.
That is Millard North. No, you could never take that away.
You better not take that away. But watching those helmets with the tape around there,
no, it's not
lining up in a shotgun.
My God, I went to Raising Cane's the other day, and they've got a Millard North helmet up above the checkout. Yeah, they're not. Oh no, and it's got it's like it's an OG Millard North helmet because it's got like real athletic tape. Oh no, that is Millard North football. I mean, you might as well change the name of the school. You're going to change the helmet, change the name of the school. There is one development though.
New Cardinal
if
direction.
You say is Millard North back, and I now want to follow up. This is a Millard North parent who is very excited about the upcoming season. There is a development though in Millard when it comes to all three high schools. I think we are about to start producing some stellar offensive linemen.
Ooh, that'll get the cockles going.
Millard South and Millard West have an upcoming prospect
lineman porn
that are either tackles or will play interior offensive line in college, which could be very beneficial if you know what I mean.
Yeah, somebody just lit up a heater driving right now, like, oh yeah.
Hey, and that was it. There was a time when Millard West was doing it a little bit, but the first state title for Fred in 03, that I will say it till I'm blue in the face. That offensive line looked like a small college offensive line. They were so much different than everybody else they went up against. And then when you watch them play, they overwhelmed defensive lines because they were all so, and I don't even know if any of them went on to play Division I football, but they were all just huge, massive college type players that I think went on to play maybe D2 or, NAIA, whatever it was, but they were together for a very long time. And yeah, that was a big deal.
There are three left in state that have Nebraska offers. Christian Jones at Omaha West Side, who will have his official visit this weekend. Chase Lofton, who was at Elkhorn North and now will play this year at Millard South, was just at Florida State. He still has his official this month. And then Ziebert from Springfield Platteview has the offer. So there's three offers that are out in state. And probably the first two guys I mentioned are at the top of the list. Don't overlook Tyson Terry. You're going to be a beast. But your viewpoint of Rule locking the borders down might change by what Christian Jones does. If he stays in Nebraska, then you're like, no one's coming into Nebraska and taking guys. If he leaves, then you're like, maybe I look differently at this class. But it's a big weekend upcoming for Nebraska in terms of official visits in the month of June. All right, take a quick break. Evan Bland will join us coming up in about an hour. Jacob Bigelow stops by as well. It is Danny Hurley decision day. Will he stay or will he go?
Blue smoke or purple smoke?
I don't know.
And I think 50-50.
And then if he doesn't go, what does that do to the Woj tweet?
Victory for Shams.
Isn't it interesting? There's only in the NBA, there's only two real insiders, Shams and Woj.
Yeah. Long live Peter Vesey.
I mean, is Woj's rep on the line? I know Hurley went out to LA, but let's say Hurley doesn't take the job. I don't know.
He and Woj in cahoots.
Was there a leak? Was there a let's stir the pot here? What happens? Do they go back to Reddick and then Shams wins? Like it's basically Woj versus Shams here, right?
I'm hoping for head coach Reddick with lead assistant Doris Burke.
I just have
great team.
I have the feeling that he stays.
I do too.
I thought by his explanation of what LA had to offer was he's a guy that I think will play a pretty good poker face, but saying that, yeah, it's very intriguing. I don't know. There were words that didn't necessarily lead me to think, yeah, it's a done deal. He's going to be the next coach of the LA Lakers. And look at who does it better than anybody in not only the college basketball profession right now, but in the new college basketball profession of NIL, being able to recruit and what you have in the Big East. Nobody does it better than him. I think he has it extremely good at UConn, and I think he knows it.
I would stay.
Well, wherever he's going, he's going to get a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of money. They're going to back up the Brinks truck in Los Angeles or in Storrs, Connecticut. I don't know. Might be easier to win a third straight NCAA title than to win a title with the Lakers.
They are
defending
the
Western Conference.
They are defending in-season tournament champions.
They are. They are. But it is decision day. We don't know when it's going to happen, but at least he's not dragging this out. Yep. And then it could be very awkward Wednesday night on the ABC broadcast with J.J. Redick sitting there, which they did not address at all before game one. Another mistake by the NBA on ESPN. All right, Evan Bland an hour, Jacob Bigelow as well. More on college baseball. 7 of the 8 are locked in to come to Omaha. One more game, Georgia and North Carolina State. More on that and a weekend that included Scotty Scheffler winning again. $24 million. It's mornings with Sharp and Handley. Jimmy on 1620 The Zone. First and foremost, let me tell you and remind you that Father's Day is coming up on Sunday. So dad needs something. Dad's fit needs to get rad. And you know where the place to go? Lindley Clothing. That's where dads have been going for years. Nearly 90 years in business of outfitting men, whether it be for the event, for the office, for the cash. And right now, all spring and summer sportswear, 25% off regular price at Lindley Clothing, 132nd and Dodge in the Linden Market. Shorts, polos, short sleeves. You know, it's going to be warm out. Maybe dad needs to go to the College World Series and he needs to look good. He's not going to be so ratty t-shirt. He's going to be a nice looking polo like we will from Lindley Clothing. You name it right now. Spring and summer wear, 25% off. And mention my name or that you heard this ad on 1620 The Zone, and get a free gift. The purchase valued at $25. It is a great time to get dad outfitted or yourself, even if you're not a dad. Excellent staff at Lindley Clothing. They'll help you find the best fit for yourself. And don't forget, all spring and summer sportswear, 25% off regular price. Dad's Day coming up on Sunday. Look and feel your best with Lindley Clothing, 132nd and West Dodge in the Linden Market.
Gary Sharp, Nick Handley, and Jimmy Chavez. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Weekdays 6 to 10 on 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com. Previously on Unsportsmanlike Conduct.
I read a book about the idea of aliens being a thing. What is that, a new concept? Someone writing about aliens? No. It talked about if we're going to find aliens, how we hope to find them. Boy, that sounds like a really exciting book. It was a great book. I ripped right through it.
Sean, this is why you don't have fun. You don't allow yourself to wonder.
I wonder all the time. I wonder how I've made it this long being next to you two.
Unsportsmanlike conduct with John Bishop and Josh Peterson. Weekdays 2 to 6 on 1620 The Zone. Your Omaha area forecast presented by Funplex Water Park and Rides from the KETV Newswatch 7 Weather Center on 1620 The Zone.
Beautiful weather to kick off the work week with a high today in Omaha of 83 degrees, plenty of sunshine, light and variable winds, and low relative humidity. We'll see clouds increase a bit tonight, becoming partly cloudy, still mild with a low of 60. For your Tuesday, partly cloudy, a bit warmer with a high of 88, and a 20% chance of showers, especially to start the day. I'm meteorologist Caitlin Harvey with KETV Newswatch 7.
1620 The Zone. Traffic.
From the Pyramid Roofing Time Saving Traffic Center. It's a steady Monday morning in the Omaha Metro with no accidents to report. We got some delays on northbound JFK from Q to the I-80, I-480 interchange. Over on westbound I-80, there are slow goings on the exit ramp to 144th. Eastbound Dodge's got slow goings between I-680 and 90th. And over in Council Bluffs, you could expect some delays due to road construction on I-29, closing the left lane in both directions between exits 56 and 61. Be sure to buckle up, drive safe out there. I'm Joey Colbert.
This time-saving traffic was brought to you by the Nebraska Lottery.
Lotto America from the Nebraska Lottery is here. It only costs $1 to play, features a starting jackpot of $2 million, and has drawings Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Play today. Lotto America top prize odds, 1 in 26 million.
Are Nebraska craft beers and ciders important to you? Whether you just love Nebraska brewed beers and ciders or you're a full-fledged craft brewery, there are benefits to membership for anyone with the Nebraska Craft Brewers Guild. Their sole mission is to foster and help grow the Nebraska-centric brewing community. Become a member today at nebraska.beer and help advance the craft beer and cider industry in the state of Nebraska. Find out more about the Nebraska Craft Brewers Guild at nebraska.beer.
Watching a ball game at Oscar's Pizza and Sports Grill is pretty awesome. Oscar's offers the MLB package, so your team is always on their upgraded audio-video system, and nothing is better than watching the game with a cold frosty one, Oscar's Pizza, or award-winning char-buffed wings. And with daily lunch and dinner specials, it's really a no-brainer. So get ready to watch your favorite team play ball at Oscar's Pizza and Sports Grill, 173rd and West Center Road, and takeout at 162nd and Maple.
A fantastic fall fishing trip starts right now. Hi, I'm Crash Davis. I need you to go to ballardsresort.com and get signed up. You've heard me talking about it. You've asked me about it. Well, now is the time to get signed up. Only a few spots remain. Only a few days remain for us to have a great fishing adventure together at Ballards Resort in northern Minnesota. We're going to the Lake of the Woods. Get on the bus Sunday. We're back on Thursday, and it's cheaper than you could do for gas there and back hauling a boat. More details with ballardsresort.com. Get signed up today. Time is of the essence.
Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. EquitableOnline.com.
It's golf season, and that means it's time to start betting like a pro with the world's largest sportsbook right at your fingertips. Circa Sports Iowa. It's sports betting the way it should be. The odds makers with the lowest holds and the best odds for every tournament. Plus, high betting limits, exceptional customer service, and more. Fund and bet like a pro anywhere, anytime. It's never been easier. Get ready for all the biggest golf tournaments with Circa Sports Iowa. Visit circasports.com today. If you or someone you know may have a problem with gambling, call 1-800-238-7633.
Roofing, siding, and gutters. Make the right call with the rooferys at John Higgins Weather Guard.
And we're back. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Here's Gary, Nick, and Jimmy on 1620 The Zone.
So the crew chief in the Clemson, Florida game has released a statement this morning. Billy Van Raphorst, who has worked here many times in the College World Series, explained what happened last night. Your favorite college baseball coach, that's the head coach at Clemson, Nick, may not look so good after reading this. So this is how he explains it. Coach Bakich came running out of the dugout when the crew got together. We told him to go back to the dugout while we huddled. We had to tell him 3 times to return to the dugout. Meanwhile, Coach Leggett was in the dugout pointing and screaming at us about the crew huddling. Leggett was warned to stop. He continued waving his hands while yelling at the crew. At this point, Leggett was ejected for failing to obey the warning. He then proceeded onto the field in foul territory and was warned to leave or be suspended. Leggett continued to yell at us while walking towards us and failing to obey the prolonged warning. Leggett was issued a 2-game suspension. Once Leggett was ejected, Coach Bakich, who had not returned to the dugout, stayed outside the dugout in foul territory and started raising his arms over his head while facing the crowd to clearly incite the crowd. Due to the previous unsportsmanlike conduct warning issued earlier, we deemed this inappropriate and he would be ejected for his actions. We ultimately decided that the batter's actions were not an ejectable offense. The crew chief met with Coach Bakich, the foul line, to give him an explanation. He was told Leggett had been ejected and suspended for coming out of the dugout and onto the field and failing to obey the prolonged warning. He was then told he was going to be ejected for not returning to the dugout and for inciting the crowd. After the ejection, Bakich followed the crew chief several times around the infield, and after being warned for prolonged activity, he has been suspended for failing to obey the warning. The game continued and ended without further incident.
Maybe he was just trying to get the crowd going because they weren't bringing the juice in an important day.
And remember, that all happens, especially when he's told that we're not going to eject the hitter. They're up.
Yeah.
Clemson is winning the game. And I'm sure in that moment you're not thinking, hey, if the score holds, I can't coach the first 2 games in the College World Series. I may not be able to coach 1 game in the College World Series, even though my team qualified in case, if they go 2 and Q. It's now given me that statement right there is also shedding a little bit more light on why it did take forever. Because, and you remember Eric Bakich trying to get to the crew chief and the home plate umpire trying to keep him away. So, I mean, based on his account, that does sound pretty accurate on what we were watching on TV. But I go back to, and maybe this is what it is, Gary. Maybe it's because you do have Jack Leggett in the dugout. He's a legend. He's somebody that everybody in the Clemson baseball circles embrace. He's part of your staff of player development that you feel like, well, it's going to look really good if that guy gets tossed, that I stand up for him.
Yeah.
And I raise a whole big ruckus about everything that's going on, and I'm going to look even better with my fan base. Damn, here I go. It's Eric Bakich time. It's prime time for Eric Bakich's douchebaggery moments. And it was. I'm sorry. Him pumping up the crowd in his form-fitting uniform. Dude, we get it. You work out, okay?
You don't like people that raise the roof?
He's no Lou
Oh,
Piniella.
I shook my head and I just thought, boy, this is really on brand with Eric Bakich. Now, I said this earlier in the show, and I'll stand by it. I did like the move of when Crichton got tossed earlier in the game from leaving his position, that he didn't agree with it, that he said, hey, I'm going to have him come out and you can throw him out because I'm not going to throw him out. I actually liked that move. But then Eric Bakich happened, is all I'm saying. Whether we're talking about hidden ball tricks or we're talking about Eric Bakich just being that guy. He was that guy. And I honestly do wonder if part of that was posturing because Jack Leggett got thrown out first. And so he had to join him. Well, if Jack Leggett does it, then they're going to, if I don't get thrown out, then they're going to ask, am I as passionate as Jack Leggett is? Well, I can't let that happen. Again, I just think this is so funny. You let your emotions absolutely elude you in a game you're winning, and you know that they are now warranting a suspension for 2 games, and you're winning that game that would put you into the College World Series. To me, that's just not good judgment.
Hey, you know what I wanted to hear? I would have loved to have been field level, because I got to imagine both of those head coaches don't like each other. There's a lot of rivalries in college baseball. Locally we know there are rivalries in the dugout between the blue and the red team. But you have Kevin O'Sullivan on one side and Eric Bakich on the other. Can you imagine the chirping that was going on?
Oh,
delaying the game and arguing and other tactics that were going on. Where remember they also checked the pitcher for Clemson that he may have had something on the bill of his cap.
Yep. This is all so, and I go back to Eric Bakich when he was at Michigan. I can only speak on behalf of the Nebraska interaction, but I know there.
Go ahead, say it.
Oh, there's just those little things.
Will couldn't stand him.
Well, Darren was not a fan either. Darren was not a fan. And it was a lot of those little things that Eric Bakich does that I think there are a lot of people in the game, whether at a managerial level, a coaching level, or even as players, that think that it's kind of Mickey Mouse, that there's some Bush League things that he doesn't mind employing onto his team. And if you're going up against a team who is a little bit more old school, and we know Darren is, you don't like that stuff. And I think of Kevin O'Sullivan, who I don't want to say Kevin O'Sullivan is completely old school, grizzled, and is someone who doesn't like to pull those types of antics. But you also have a guy who came from the Big Ten, who's now with Clemson, very well-known baseball program, that there's probably a little bit of that who the hell are you type feeling if you're Kevin O'Sullivan. So, oh, yeah. And Kevin O'Sullivan, as you know, Gary, he's not afraid to let you know what he's thinking, whether it's in the heat of the moment or it's before or after a game. So I guarantee you that those interactions throughout the game between those two coaching staffs and Kevin O'Sullivan was probably amazing.
And whether Sully rubs you the wrong way or not, you got to give him his due. I mean, the man knows how to coach college baseball. It's I don't know. The reaction towards him, I think, has changed after this run of 4 straight games in which they've won over the number 2 seed. So we are down to one spot is open. It's the all SEC, ACC College World Series. There is no Stony Brook. There is no Evansville. There are some newbies, like Kentucky will be here fun, and we'll be here for the first time, and that'll be a lot of fun. And they already, if I'm seating the 7 that are here with the Rocco's Jello Shot board, I got Kentucky as a 1 seed, Tennessee is a 2, Florida State's a 3, Florida's a 4, North Carolina's a 5, Texas A&M a 6, and Virginia is a 7. Now, if Georgia wins, then we will change the seedings. But that's my seedings for the Jello Shot board. But the fact of the matter is the ACC and the SEC are here. And Jeff writes into the Equitable Bank inbox, ACC, SEC will dominate the College World Series in the future. I will miss the mix of teams from different parts of the country, but there is no going back. Can't disagree. The Big 12 won't have a team here for the first time in 11 years. But remember, they get Arizona next year that joins the Big 12. So SEC, ACC, Big 12 will still have a place. And you want to add college baseball scholarships. We want to decrease football rosters and in turn, give baseball most scholarships. I think that is scary for what the SEC and the ACC, which has only won 2 national titles, by the way. Take out Miami. I'm not, since Miami has joined the ACC, they haven't won a title, but you have Wake Forest in 55 and then Virginia in 15. So it has been all SEC, and you're going to give them extra scholarships. They're going to eat up college baseball, which leads me to this point. Of the last 2 weeks of college baseball, and it is such a geographical advantage sport. There is no doubt. When you begin the season in Lincoln, Nebraska, or in Omaha, Nebraska, and the first day of college baseball, there's snow on the ground, it's 33 degrees, that's awful tough to play.
Yep.
So those challenges are built in. It makes me appreciate the run that UConn has had. Because UConn in Storrs, Connecticut, under Jim Penders has been really, really consistent. And they knocked on the door of the College World Series this year, and they had a great game too. They got drubbed in game 1, but kind of like Creighton treated UConn in men's basketball here in Omaha. That's how Florida State treated Creighton or UConn in baseball on Friday. But they had a great game on Saturday, got to extra innings, but then lost, and their season is over. Makes me really appreciate what UConn baseball is doing right now with how consistently they are in the conversation coming from Storrs, Connecticut. But this type of a field for the College World Series, I think we need to get used to it.
Yeah. I mean, and for people who are holding out hope for Big Ten teams, mainly Nebraska or even Creighton, you're looking at some type of glimmer of hope that sometimes change can lead to more opportunities for those teams to compete at the bigger stage or have that ability to impact recruiting or whatever it is. The simple math does not work in favor for them, because if you're talking about certain players that maybe a Nebraska or a Michigan or an Indiana or a Maryland get, a lot of those players might have had SE schools on their list, but there was a scholarship limitation that, well, they didn't necessarily make the cut. They couldn't go full end. They couldn't be part of 30 to 35 scholarships. That all of a sudden, those players that you would have gotten in Maryland or Nebraska that had SEC schools on their list, but they quite frankly couldn't offer them a full scholarship, so they went elsewhere. Well, now that's not going to be a problem. So those types of players are going to be more readily available for the ACC and SEC teams. So this is the challenge for Will Bolt, for everybody that is in that similar position that Big Ten Northern Climate teams are. And I don't know the answer to this, but what you've been doing in recruiting and your creativity when it comes to selling your school, selling your product. This goes back to something, Gary, I'll give you credit for bringing up a while back. And this takes time to establish, mind you, but this is where your school has to be not about the conference, not even associated, where people think of, we'll use Nebraska baseball. They don't associate with Big Ten baseball. They associate with good winning baseball. And, I think UConn is a great example of that. I know Coastal's in a much more favorable climate, but I think Coastal Carolina is another program like that too, where you don't even think of the Sun Belt Conference, but you think of that program at its own. Hell, in a way, it's kind of how Gonzaga established themselves in college basketball. You don't think of where they're playing. You just think of that program as a winning program. How you do it, though, now where it is going to be unlimited scholarships at that roster size, that creates such a bigger challenge that I have no idea how you're able to go about that, other than you've got to string together winning seasons and be able to at least say, hey, we know we're not the SEC, we know we're not the ACC, but we're in the tournament every year, and we're getting some guys into Major League Baseball. There's that. And then what can you do with NIL? I mean, that's going to be another big part of this too, is the name, image, likeness that you can try to provide. Even if you can't offer them a scholarship, can you be at least remotely competitive to what they do, especially in the SEC with NIL?
It also shows you, I keep going back to this, when you are in Lincoln, Nebraska or Omaha, Nebraska, and you got to hire a baseball coach and you know the challenges that you have, you got to be really good in that dugout.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to be good at putting a staff together, managing a roster, recruiting the right guy, developing them, and then you got to be really good inning 1 through 9.
Yep.
When you're the guy that's got the lineup card in your hand. So it makes moving forward, as the landscape of college baseball is going to change a bit. And I don't think there's, I don't think it's going to be drastically, we're going to go, oh my gosh, Big Ten baseball is here. We get Oregon, who was on the cusp of, going to the College World Series this year, or UCLA or Washington or USC. I think it is what it is. Maybe with a slight tweak and maybe an extra team or two would get into the tournament, but you got to be damn good in that dugout. So you got also have to, it would also help to have athletic directors that have an interest in baseball, make a commitment to baseball, and either are a baseball person or trust baseball people that when you have an opening, they direct you towards the right person for your program. If that be an Andy Sawyers, who is one of the top candidates for the Creighton job, former Nebraska assistant, who went to Fayetteville with SEMO and beat Arkansas, eliminated Arkansas last week. You got to make the right hire for northern schools in the dugout. Minnesota made a hire after John Anderson retired. They hired a young guy off of their staff, and he's making good hires with who he's putting together. So it adds to your head coach needs to be really good. Jim Penders at UConn has been really, really good. As a result, they're getting closer out of the Big East Baseball Conference to get to the College World Series.
The one interesting part about the hire, and I'm glad you bring up a guy like Sawyers, who coached in Nebraska, coached at K-State. He's been a part of those types of teams that have similar challenges. That the one area that I will be really curious, because I think it changes a lot in football. I think it changes a lot in basketball. I'm not sure how much it changes in baseball when it comes to recruiting. Because, yeah, there's always going to be an NIL element to it. But think about how players are how they appear on the radar of college baseball teams and coaches. I mean, you have your different showcase tournaments and showcase camps, but you also have just doing the legwork that, I mean, coaches have been doing for, decades, where they're grinding out summer Legion baseball schedules and they're going out to this place and that place. I don't know if any of that really changes. And I think that's where more so from the cooler weather climate teams, the Big Tens of the world, the Big East teams of the world, when you're able to find, I don't even call them a hidden gem, but the less known talent because you are putting in that legwork, that's another area that if I'm an athletic director and I'm valuing and knowing that we just don't have a bevy of talent that is so fixated on wanting to go to our school right in our own backyard, who has a track record, whether you're a recruiting coordinator, an assistant coach, you were one of the lead recruiters, and who are the types of guys that you were able to pull in? Who are those guys also looking at other schools that you were able to win them over? How did you do that? I want to know more about that because I don't think what maybe you did 10 years ago is necessarily changed. I think that still is a really big part of putting together the type of roster that you could at least hope is able to stay afloat, be competitive, be in a postseason, and then you just never know. I think that part of it as well from a coach is extremely important.
All right. Speaking of coaches, Tennessee, Texas A&M, Florida have 3 head coaches who are very polarizing. Chris writes into the Equitable Bank inbox about Sully yesterday and his move late in the game against Clemson. I thought it was pretty bush league to check the pitcher at that point in the game. It was the top of the 10th. Kid had already thrown 77 pitches. That wasn't gamemanship. It was BS.
Oh, it was.
Oh, that's a Sully move.
Yep. That's why I said Kevin O'Sullivan is not a guy that is beyond Bush League or if he's above any of that stuff. No. He's just been doing it longer.
Yeah, and he's been to the College World Series 9 in the last 14 years.
Yes,
he's got a title as well. All right, Evan Bland coming up in about 35 minutes. Jacob Bigelow in an hour as well. It's Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone. All right, it is here. That little thing going on downtown beginning on Friday. Yes, the big college baseball event. And Tickets for Less is there with you. And you know what? They got the ultimate tailgate pass. They've also got seats to all of the games. What a better way for Father's Day than to take dad to a ball game. And Tickets for Less has the best seats, the best prices for you, and always transparent pricing. So what you see is what you pay, never any per ticket fees when you get to checkout. And don't forget, when you get to checkout, use my promo code THEZONE for an additional discount on your next order. When you go to ticketsforless.com, you can either download the app or go to the website, find your seats to that big baseball event that begins on Friday and get in. And also check out the Ultimate Tailgate Pass as well for an epic day of tailgate full of food, drinks, and fun. All with our good friends over at ticketsforless.com.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com. Omaha's most listened to all sports radio station. Again and again and again. 1620 The Zone.
Host is roasting every morning. At Host Coffee Services, every cup of coffee served comes with a promise of quality, innovation, and a dash of fun, ensuring your workday is as delightful as your coffee break. Call Host Coffee Services today.
Proudly serving Nebraska since 1972. Host Coffee Services is always roasting something good for you.
When it comes to concrete repair, Everlevel has some serious game. Coach Greg McDermott here to coach you on why you should choose Everlevel Concrete Repair. They've got the fundamentals to fix your cracked and uneven concrete, and their products will give you the best defense against future damage. It's a fraction of the price compared to replacement, and their solutions come with a long-term transferable warranty. Working with Everlevel is a slam dunk. Call Everlevel Concrete Repair today for your free inspection.
At Cox Mobile, we know you're smart. You brush your teeth in the shower to save time, make coffee ice cubes for your cold brew, and wear goggles to cut onions. You also added Cox Mobile. So smart. Now you're running on the network with unbeatable 5G reliability and saving on your Cox internet. It's ingenious, just like you. Aw, thanks. Cox Mobile, the smart way to mobile. Cox postpaid internet required. Cox Mobile runs on the network with unbeatable 5G reliability as measured by Ookla LLC in the U.S. to H 2023. Other restrictions apply. Learn more at cox.com/mobile.
Some people just know the more you protect, the more you save with Allstate. Because they know insurance math. Like if you protect your home and auto, Allstate can save you up to 25%. So it's like losing money if you don't bundle. Save more when you protect more. Bundle home and auto with Allstate today.
Bundled savings vary by state and are not available in every state. Saving up to 25% is the countrywide average of the maximum available savings off the home policy. Allstate Vehicle and Property Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
Are you the decision maker in your company? Consider this. For the first time in decades, there's a better option for a corporate card and spend management platform. Meet Ramp, the only corporate card and spend management system designed to help you spend less money so you can make more. Most corporate credit cards offer points as incentives, but those points amount to less than their worth in real cash value. Ramp's business cards offer you cash back, real money in your pocket. Plus, you control who spends what with each vendor. And Ramp's software collects and verifies receipts automatically, which means you'll stop wasteful spending and close your books in hours instead of days. Businesses that use Ramp add up to 5% to their bottom line the first year. If you're a decision maker, adding Ramp could be one of the best decisions you've ever made. And now get $250 when you join Ramp for free. Just go to ramp.com/sports. Ramp.com/sports. RAMP.com/sports.
Cards issued by Sutton Bank and Celtic Bank, members of FDIC. Terms and conditions apply.
News Talk 1290 Coil is your radio home for Omaha Storm Chasers baseball, proud AAA affiliate of the Kansas City Royals. Tune in to hear every pitch, every hit, and every out as the Chasers play at Warner Park and across the International League in 2024. With the voice of the Omaha Storm Chasers, Nick Batters, on News Talk 1290 Coil.
Tune in to 1290 Coil all season long for your Omaha Storm Chasers baseball as they take on the International League. It's Storm Chasers baseball on 1290 Coil.
Now back to mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone.
Hey, here on this Monday that ends in the College World Series, which you'll hear here on the Zone. All the games will be at Baseball Village. Coming up on Friday, but the weather today is supposed to be great. One of the nicer days of the week where it's not going to be, fat man's weight loss paradise, sweat, box. Great event tonight over at Tal Anderson Field. Tonight will be the third annual Sam's and Briggs Midsummer Classic. Omaha North and Omaha Central are going to play each other at Tal Anderson. First pitch is at 8 o'clock tonight.
It'll be nice by then, too. It'll be nice all day.
Yep.
Yeah.
These two programs have gotten together. Again, it's the third year. They play in the honor of the late Trevon Sams and Briggs O'Neill. It's a great event. It's fantastic for the North and the Central community and the baseball programs to come together. And I've been to the first two. They always put on a great show. There's a lot of emotion. There's a lot of familiar faces that are there. And it's a great cause. So it's the third annual Sam's and Briggs Midsummer Classic tonight. Omaha North, Omaha Central over at Tal Anderson. I think you can go to Ticketmaster or you can get tickets at the gate tonight for that.
Is Happer throwing out the first pitch?
I don't know. That would seem appropriate.
Yeah. He needs to have a role in this game at some point. That's his alum. That's his Eagles, man. And a baseball alum to boot, too. Yeah. Now, this is it. We talked about this with Warner Park too, and I know Ethan Anderson, Tal Anderson, even though they don't have the ability to do it as much, just to be able to showcase a lot of these games, especially whether we're talking about what is more for a great cause or just getting some of the Legion teams or high school teams out there to experience that and getting some of those communities involved as well. They're doing it fantastically, just like Warner Park is. And yeah, that is such a cool thing that they're doing tonight. So hopefully everybody can make it out for that.
Good luck to everybody that's involved in that. All right. Evan Bland will join us in the next hour. Jacob Bigelow stops by as well. Nick is in Chicago. Jimmy and Gary with my Ronza hat. We're sitting in studio.
Looks amazing.
Hey, it's a burrito. Everybody enjoy a Omaha burrito. That's what a lot of the Storm Chaser players think a Ronza is. Or actually, ESPN thinks it's Runza.
Yeah.
We like to still call it a Runza.
Yeah.
It's with Sharp and Handley. 1620, The Zone. All right, the NBA Finals now reach game number 3 coming up on Wednesday night in Dallas. FanDuel is here to give you a chance to win alongside the champions. Celtics are up 2-0, but Dallas is a favorite in game 3. Right now, new customers get $200 in bonus bets with a winning $5 bet. That's $200 you can use on really anything, Nick.
Yeah, anything that you want to use. And Luka Doncic, as we mentioned, he's kind of bandaged up right now, but he's still doing his thing for Dallas. You can get into individual performances. You can get into same-game parlays, live bets, first half, second half, however you want to get into the action. There's much more available for you at FanDuel. No better place than get into the finals action, America's #1 sportsbook. Go to FanDuel.com, use the promo code ZONE to get started and take a shot at an extra $200. FanDuel, official sports betting partner of the NBA. 21 plus and present in Iowa. First online real money wager only. $5 deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expires 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-BETS-OFF.
More with Gary and Nick after this on 1620 The Zone. Live from the Host Coffee Studio, this is 1620 The Zone. 1620 The Zone. Traffic.
From the Pyramid Roofing Time Saving Traffic Center. Lots of heavy traffic in the Omaha Metro on this Monday morning. Slow goings on eastbound Dodge between 168th and 144th, and from I-680 to 72nd. Over on I-80, there are slow goings in both directions between I-680 and 72nd. Also on westbound I-80, there are slow goings on the exit ramp to 144th Street. Northbound JFK's got heavy delays between Chandler and the I-80, I-480 interchange. Be sure to buckle up, drive safe out there. I'm Joey Colbert.
This time-saving traffic is brought to you by Modern Real Estate.
Introducing Modern Real Estate, the game changer in Nebraska's property market. With a competitive 2% commission rate, we're making buying, selling, and investing more affordable and transparent than ever. Visit modernrealestateco.com and experience the future of real estate today.
The biggest pro football contests in Vegas are back. Circa Survivor and Circa Million are now up to $16 million in guaranteed prizes. 2 ways to win, no rate. Circa Survivor contestants select one team each week with no point spread. Last the longest to win it all, $10 million guaranteed. In Circa Million, make 5 picks against the spread each week for your share of $6 million guaranteed. Quarterly and full season payouts. Enter in Nevada, play from anywhere. Circasports.com for details. If you or someone you know may have a problem with gambling, call 1-800-238-7633.
Hey, Omaha, on the hunt for tickets to the next big event? Look no further than ticketsforless.com. Offering transparent, upfront pricing and stellar customer service, Tickets for Less ensures you're always going to score the best deal on your tickets. Shop online, swing by their store, 145th and West Center, or give them a ring at 402-398-1999. Plus, snag 10% off when you register on their free mobile app. Already a user? No problem. Just enter the promo code THEZONE for instant savings at ticketsforless.com. Secure your seats and save big today with Tickets for Less.
Funplex has asked me to give you a first-hand account of the all-new for 2024 Wipeout attraction.
Okay, hit it.
We're starting up. Spinning a little now. Whoa, a lot.
The centrifugal force is starting to stretch my face. Holy this thing's fast. Whoa, it's tilting. We have tilting. Woohoo! This is awesome. You got to try this. Get your tickets now at fun-plex.com. Are Nebraska craft beers and ciders important to you? Whether you just love Nebraska brewed beers and ciders or you're a full-fledged craft brewery, there are benefits to membership for anyone with the Nebraska Craft Brewers Guild. Their sole mission is to foster and help grow the Nebraska-centric brewing community. Become a member today at nebraska.beer and help advance the craft beer and cider industry in the state of Nebraska. Find out more about the Nebraska Craft Brewers Guild at nebraska.beer.
Hi, this is Doug Nodgard with Equitable Bank. Great service never goes out of style. When the digital age dawned, many said computers would be able to handle many of the interactions that used to take a person. Boy, were they wrong. How many times have you called your bank and gotten a recording to press 1 or 2? Not at Equitable. Not only does Equitable answer your call on the first ring, it's answered by a human being. That's because Equitable Bank values its customers. Equitable Bank, we take banking personally. Member FDIC.
Tickets for Less. Best seats, best prices, no service fees. Shop ticketsforless.com. KOZN Bellevue, Omaha, Council Bluffs. This is 1620 The Zone. Now back to mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone.
So umpiring was a story over the weekend in the Super Regionals for college baseball, and it is a story even without Angel Hernandez nightly in Major League Baseball. One thing I am looking forward to, so ESPN embraces the College World Series, and so a lot of their best audio and video people are here, and you have the ump cam. Can we all agree that home runs look better when they are viewed from the ump cam?
I don't know if I fully agree with you that.
So I may send you a video. So Aaron Judge, who is he's got 281 home runs in his first 902 games, and he's he's got the most home runs before 1,000 games played in Major League Baseball history. So he had a home run the other night against the Dodgers. Dodgers won 2 of 3 at Yankee Stadium. They showed the ump cam and the ball off the bat of Aaron Judge. Yeah. And I'm like, oh, be still my heart. Home runs look better from the ump cam. So I'm hoping for lots of ump cam over the next week plus of the College World Series.
Especially since you two say it's going to be a dong fest. So yeah, lean into that too.
If you get the straightaway center shot, yeah, it's a sight to behold. But when they're going either side, left or right, I always find that the overall trajectory somewhat hard to pick up. And then, Gary, as you know, I do get a little PTSD when it comes to that vantage point at Baton Field in New Jersey. So so maybe I'm the wrong person to ask when it comes to ump cam, because I feel like I pretty much had ump cam at Baton Field in New Jersey.
Jimmy, you're right. We could have lots of dongs in Omaha. So Tennessee, by the way, with the the bats and the balls the way they are, and it's not gorilla ball. What Tennessee baseball is doing, and they crushed 7 home runs yesterday. And I know it seems like more and more college baseball stadiums are bandboxes. They have 173 home runs this year. LSU in 1997, they hit 188.
In the gorilla ball era.
Yes.
That's a CWS.
Tennessee has 6 straight games where they've hit multiple home runs. They have 28 in the postseason, including Dalton Bargo, who graduate of Westside, went to Mizzou, was in the portal last year. I thought Nebraska would get in the mix, and then NIL got in play. Ends up in Knoxville. He had 2 home runs yesterday. So we could have a dong fest, but I got dong on my mind.
Many do in the morning.
Went out to the outlet malls, and I was trying to explain to somebody where to go to eat.
Okay.
I kept saying it was Kong Dong. It's Kong Dog. Oh. So it was like Kong Dong. I don't see a Kong Dong.
All hot dogs are a foot long or more.
It's popular. Kong Dong. And they're like, it does not exist. I'm like, yes, it does. Yeah, it's
we need a restaurant called Kong Dong.
Kong Dog.
Kong Dong.
Yes.
Was that a Ron Jeremy movie?
No, it's a very, very popular corn dog place at the outlet malls. There's a lot of people there.
I bet.
It's like, well, I think it has to be the most popular food spot at the outlet malls is the Kong Dog.
Yeah. I don't know if I've
You're
ever
not confuse it with the Kong Dong.
Oh,
it's going to get really uncomfortable.
Especially on a really hot, humid day.
Speaking of food, first 2 games. Humor me here, boys. First 2 games of the NBA Finals. What's been the biggest story?
I almost said a bad word. The crappy broadcast.
Where on Monday or game 1, the halftime show was 73% ads, the most in 3 years. They were a little bit better last night.
Joey timed it. He told me this morning he did a running thing of it.
Oh, Joey's got to be on cloud 9. I forgot about that.
He smiled, so yeah.
I would probably say Kyrie's lack of presence right now would probably be, if we're talking about the play on the floor and not the broadcast itself.
Yeah, he is in danger after the first 2 games where he hasn't made a 3 of hurting that goodwill. But here's what one of my top storylines is through the first 2 games in Boston. Are you ready? I'm about ready to To go all John Wooden on you.
Okay.
Oh, here we go. Yeah.
Are we not going to address what was shown on TV last night away from the floor with Bill Belichick?
I didn't see this. What are we talking about here? I saw a lot of David Portnoy, which I didn't really care for.
So, yeah. There are two types of people in the world.
Boston going to Boston.
Yeah.
There's two types of people in the world. Those who saw Bill Belichick at the Celtics game last night. And then there are people like me that saw not only Bill Belichick in a suite at TD Garden, but also that he had Trader Joe's snacks with him. Hey.
Did he have the licorice? Because the licorice is really good.
That's some really good cheese.
It is unbelievable what Bill Belichick is doing these days. He is a man that is cheating and grabbing a competitive advantage and edge that knows no bounds. How do you sneak in the great chocolate-covered pretzels from Trader Joe's into your suite? Because I don't think it was on the menu. So Bill Belichick, probably when he got up yesterday in the Boston area and said, I'm going to game 2, said, how can I get these snacks into my suite? This is incredible. That is one of the top storylines to me of the first 2 games of the NBA Finals. There is a man that is smart with his Trader Joe's pickup and knows ball. I mean, what else would you want?
That tells you all you need to know about the series right now, too. I mean, if that's the biggest takeaway, that tells you all you need to know about the series.
I'm more interested in this than the games themselves.
Well, remember the COVID draft? We saw how we saw the very workmanlike kitchen setup, including the table of Bill Belichick's household. I mean, obviously, he's not going to have the same type of security attention that anybody else is. So he could probably go in and out undetected when it comes to smuggling in Trader Joe's snacks and goods. I think that the chocolate pretzel is a clutch one, but again, if you're really going all in, then you need to probably get involved with the red licorice that they have there too. It's no joke.
He didn't strike me as a licorice guy because it gets caught in your teeth and it just takes up time from when you can be focusing on ball.
Focusing on ball, somehow circumventing the neck system.
Hey, like the mini pretzel that's covered in chocolate just goes down pretty easy. And then you can just keep, while you can keep your eyes on the prospect running at the combine and your binoculars while you're eating, or while you're watching film, you just keep shoveling that thing in. How is this not a bigger story last night? They were showing all the celebrities that were there. And I'm like, Belichick's got Trader Joe's food next to him. How'd he get that into his suite?
See, Van Gundy would have been all over this. Mark Jackson would have said something.
Yeah, instead you have JJ and Doris who don't say a word. Did you guys notice last night for like the last 2 minutes of the game they barely spoke?
They didn't say. I just figured, and it wasn't like it was a blowout either. I mean, there were things happening there towards the end. Do you think that was directed from the truck of let Breen take over?
No,
I would hope not. But,
I don't think so.
But you know, on the play that's probably going to come out in the last 2 minute report today, the block by Brown on PJ Washington, it was Mike Breen that made a comment about, wasn't that a foul? His 2 analysts next to him didn't say anything.
Last year would have been different.
There's just no aura. ABC is not giving the NBA Finals aura. The 2 games, I don't know. I mean, at least last night it was close late, but it's been like, but ABC is like matching the excitement level of the NBA Finals.
I just go on YouTube and watch some of the old CBS games and listen to Tommy Heinsohn blow a gasket. Rest in peace.
I don't know, the effort,
Brown,
the effort and the quality of the pregame, the halftime, the postgame has been lacking.
It's a bummer.
It's been going down for a while on ESPN.
Well, I think you said it earlier.
The product deserves better.
Mm-hmm.
I think you said it earlier. I think you're spot on with at least the suggestion that we've already got the NBA audience. We don't need to put all of our time and resources into that. Let's build up the Stanley Cup Finals. And now we're going to focus over to the College World Series too, where we need to build more of an audience and we need to try to bring that product home. I'm not saying that's right to do because, I think you're taking a product for granted, especially if there's any time to put that type of effort into it. It's now. And remember, last year, the biggest criticism of the matchup we got was, oh my gosh, we get a Denver, we get that market, and then we get the Miami market. they don't really care about basketball. These are major markets as far as that overall sports fandom comes. Now you get a Boston market, and then you get a Dallas market, sports hungry fan bases and TV markets that are going to eat this thing up, and you're just coasting by. I just think that was it's a big miss, and you finally got some teams that you thought would generate a little bit of that national interest. Well, then where's that reciprocated on the part of ABC? Because it's not. And I think you're onto something there, Gary. I think they just took it for granted, thinking, yeah, you know what, we got those markets. Everybody's going to tune in anyway, so let's just describe the ball.
Well, it can be interesting when the new TV contract comes out, because NBC could have 100 games. Like, just a little tip here: if you took advantage of the Peacock offer, which was $19.99 for a whole year, you get your Big Ten. They're going to put quite a few games, NBA games, on Peacock,
and we have
Peacock is a good subscription.
And what will that do to ABC/ESPN? Heck, the guy that is probably the most recognizable on their set for the post game, he leaves because he has to go get ready and go to bed for First Take. Stephen A. Smith not even on the post game because he leaves and he's got to go get on.
So it's watchable
on First Take. Well, I don't know about that, because what was one of the complaints about the Indiana Knicks series?
The Knicks Love Fest.
There was only one team.
So
playing.
what do we do?
Yep.
We go get Josh Hart and put him on set for the NBA Finals.
Right. Right. Yes. A good point. And that I was thinking about that earlier in the show when we were talking about this. How much different their coverage, and you think about the Open, would it be if New York was playing in it? You guys know it'd be far different. At least the pomp and circumstance leading up to the broadcast. Once you get to the broadcast, that is what it is. But as far as the overall build up to it, if the Knicks are involved, oh my God. I feel bad for whoever would have been playing the Knicks.
Well, here's my only suggestion. Give me more Holiday. Everybody fights him being a star. He might be the biggest star on that roster. He was good when Milwaukee won a title, but you had Giannis. You got Tatum. You got Brown. Holiday might be the biggest star on the Celtics roster that we don't want to say is a star.
Some dudes are just winners, and he's one.
Absolutely. I know that when you're the Bucks and Dame is available, you go get Dame. But, man, Brad Stevens turned Marcus Smart into Porzingis and Drew Holiday.
Look at baseball. We talk about glue guys that are they're just winners. That's Drew Holiday.
Evan Bland is considered a winner, especially among his immediate family.
Yeah.
He will join us coming up next. Jacob Bigelow as well. We'll talk more ball with him as we wait for Dan Hurley to make his decision. He's either going to go to a major recruiting event, or he's going to go and be introduced as the new head coach of the Los Angeles Lakers.
Can he do a hat ceremony, please?
I don't know how he'll announce.
He can do a special with Jim Gray and say he's taking his talents to insert.
It's kind of Woj is the guy that'll break the news, correct?
For his sake.
Because Woj broke the story, and then Woj last night broke the story that today will be the day that he announces what he's going to do.
Woj just got the inside line, apparently, if you believe that.
Woj wants Hurley. Shams wants Redick. Who will win in this showdown?
Not the Lakers.
Evan Bland coming up next on Mornings with Sharp and Handley and Jimmy at 1620 The Zone.
Gary Sharp, Nick Handley, and Jimmy Chavez. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Weekdays 6 to 10. On 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com. Previously on The Crossover.
I opened up my fortune cookie last night, and on the front it says, here you can download a bunch of music. And then on the back, there's a QR code for Napster.
Yeah, fortune cookies used to be fun, whimsical. At the end of your chicken fried rice, you're like, boop, boop, boop.
Boop, boop, boop. That's exactly what I did
we had
last
Chinese
night.
the other night. I don't think we ever got fortune cookies.
Even worse.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley. The Connor Happer Show. Unsportsmanlike conduct. 6A to 6P. 1620. The Zone. Your Omaha area forecast presented by Funplex Water Park and Rides. From the KETV Newswatch 7 Weather Center on 1620 The Zone.
beautiful weather to kick off the work week with a high today in Omaha of 83 degrees, plenty of sunshine, light and variable winds, and low relative humidity. We'll see clouds increase a bit tonight, becoming partly cloudy, still mild with a low of 60. For your Tuesday, partly cloudy, a bit warmer with a high of 88, and a 20% chance of showers, especially to start the day. I'm meteorologist Caitlin Harvey with KUTV Newswatch 7.
1620, The Zone. Traffic.
From the Pyramid Roof and Time Saving Traffic Center. Lots of heavy traffic in the Omaha Metro on this Monday morning. Slow goings on eastbound Dodge between 168th and 144th, and from I-680 to 72nd. Over on I-80, there are slow goings in both directions between I-680 and 72nd. Also on westbound I-80, there are slow goings on the exit ramp to 144th Street. Northbound JFK's got heavy delays between Chandler and the I-80, I-480 interchange. Be sure to buckle up, drive safe out there. I'm Joey Colbert.
This time-saving traffic was brought to you by Romeo's Mexican Food and Pizza.
Not your typical restaurant, not your typical place. Romeo's, not your typical restaurant, for your not your typical taste. Romeo's Mexican Food and Pizza. Not your typical restaurant.
For the second year, the Nebraska Lottery's NASCAR Powerball Playoff promotion has roared into our state, and the excitement is throttling up. Until June 24th, buy a Powerball ticket with Power Play and Double Play. Enter the voucher number, and you could be one of 15 Nebraska winners of $1,000 and the chance to win a VIP trip to the NASCAR Cup Series Championship weekend, plus a shot at $1 million. Enter today. Powerball top prize odds 1 in 292 million.
Nebraska, where hardworking hands build incredible things. Like the strong hands of a farmer who gets up early to harvest opportunity, or the delicate fingers of a pastry chef who bakes everything from the heart. When the hands behind your business are hard at work, we offer our hands for support. Because we're not just a bank in Nebraska, we're Nebraska in a bank. Pinnacle Bank, the way banking should be. Member FDIC.
For the ones who know safety isn't a catchphrase, it's a culture. And the ones who help make sure everyone makes it home safe. For the safety-minded who watch everyone's backs, Grainger offers supplies and solutions for every industry, as well as safety assessments and training to keep your facilities safe and your people safer. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
If you need bold banners to boost your business, but you're on a budget, think Staples. Because now at Staples, you can save up to $50 on your print purchase. From posters and flyers to signs and menus, Staples can print anything you need to move your business forward. And with Staples Print Perfect Guarantee, it's done right or it's printed again free. Plus, same-day service is available on hundreds of items if you order by noon. Get it printed right at Staples. And now get up to $50 off your print purchase. N76, visit staples.com/print for details.
The baseball world comes to Omaha. And 1620 The Zone is running the show. All the excitement of the Men's College World Series, the insight, the fun, and the stories behind the games. Live from the Omaha Baseball Village. Powered by Access Bank and Children's Nebraska. Also brought to you by 10 and Wally's Ultra Premium Ice Cream, Zen Water, and Nebraska Medicine. Don't miss a minute of the biggest event in the Big O on your station for the Men's College World Series. 1620 The Zone.
You never think cancer will happen to you. I smoked for over 40 years. My doctor recommended that I get annual lung cancer screening. They were able to catch my cancer at stage 1. It's never too late to quit. Even if you're still smoking, you need to ask your doctor about annual lung cancer screening. Just 30 minutes a year could save your life.
Call the Nebraska Tobacco Quit Line, 1-800-QUIT-NOW, 1-800-784-8669. Paid for by Tobacco Free Nebraska. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Are you the decision maker in your company? Consider this. For the first time in decades, there's a better option for a corporate card and spend management platform. Meet Ramp, the only corporate card and spend management system designed to help you spend less money so you can make more. Most corporate credit cards offer points as incentives, but those points amount to less than their worth in real cash value. Ramp's business cards offer you cash back, real money in your pocket. Plus, you control who spends what with each vendor. And Ramp's software collects and verifies receipts automatically, which means you'll stop wasteful spending and close your books in hours instead of days. Businesses that use Ramp add up to 5% to their bottom line the first year. If you're a decision maker, adding Ramp could be one of the best decisions you've ever made. And now get $250 when you join Ramp for free. Just go to ramp.com/sports. Ramp.com/sports. RAMP.com/sports.
Cards issued by Sutton Bank and Celtic Bank, members of FDIC. Terms and conditions apply.
Now back to Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone.
All right, welcome back in on a Monday morning, 8:30. Time for Evan Bland of the Omaha World Herald. Good morning, Evan.
Morning. How's it going?
Good. Good or bad, ACC, SEC College World Series?
Good for Omaha businesses and area hotels. I don't know how great it is for the sport necessarily. I think it's kind of fun to have more of a cross section of the country, get a West Coast team in there, one underdog. But you're going to have a lot of brand names. You're going to have a lot of big fan bases, big time players that are coming in. So probably from a TV ratings perspective and ticket demand and atmosphere and all that, these are programs that you would think are going to draw pretty well. So I think overall, probably for the event, it's a positive, but I think it's also a reminder and a reflection of where college athletics is, certainly, and this idea that there's definitely more parity than there used to be, but that parity in college baseball especially is very specific now to the programs that are well funded, which is the SEC, which is the ACC, and that's kind of it at this point. The Pac-12 doesn't exist anymore. The Big 12 bowed out early. So this is kind of what the sport is becoming. And I think having it in our faces the way that it's going to be for the next 10 days should create some pretty interesting dialogue.
Yeah, and Evan, to that point, the overall product that'll be on display, and you mentioned it, you're going to get inundated with it. Fans are going to get a chance to see it. Casual viewers are going to get a chance to see that. We say that every year. And when you eliminate the Cinderella story that we will not have in this field, even Florida's a 3 seed, no one's going to mistake them as, this is a great up and coming story. You look at the quality type of baseball that we anticipate because of what these programs do. We start getting later into this College World Series, and especially in that championship series. In your opinion, does it depend on the coverage, the way that ESPN presents that gives you the better chance of having that spill over to the casual audience? Because Evan, the diehard college baseball fans are going to lose their mind over this in a good way about these teams and some good baseball. But as far as the casual viewers, does that just come down simply to the way that ESPN and the way that it's covered as far as those types of teams without that fun Cinderella story?
Well, I think if I'm ESPN, I'm going to market it the way that a lot of success stories in marketing have gone, which is let's talk about the stars, right? Let's talk about Van Tunnicott in North Carolina coming. Let's talk about Jack Caglione at Florida, who's going to be a top 5 pick. If Georgia makes it, let's talk about Charlie Condon and the power that he has and the records he's rewriting, or Braden Montgomery at Texas A&M. I think from that perspective, it's pretty easy to market. We've seen it in the growth of women's college basketball and other places. I think one advantage that college baseball does still have is obviously you don't see one and done. So a lot of these names and faces are ones that people are familiar with and people care about and people are following. And so I think that star power, we had it last year in the College World Series too. And I think it went pretty well. And so, that's what I do if I was ESPN is really play up some of these names, and just the fact that, the quality of college baseball for a whole bunch of reasons is as high as it's ever been. The long ball is prominent. If you like power pitching, you're going to see a bunch of guys who can throw mid-90s, and then you just hope the weather does its part and holds out to allow it all to happen. But I think it's, that's how you probably have to play it. Is there's a ton of really quality teams here. Like we said, Florida's a 3 seed in name only, but these are all programs with a ton of ability. Most of them have an Omaha history. Kentucky being an exception, but you figure their fans are going to overrun this place too with a chance to do something. So it kind of feels like a power field for sure. And hopefully the games live up to the billing.
So then you'd throw in Tibbs, Cam Smith, Walden Schmidt. There's going to be some great talent that is going to be here. Evan Bland from the World Herald joining us. You wrote over the weekend, kind of as a recap on Nebraska's season, about what happened this year, what could happen next year. And one of the teams that's going to be here, you saw up close and personal in Stillwater with Florida, where we all went, boy, why is Florida a 3 seed? Well, they were a 3 seed because of the record, because they have tied the lowest mark in terms of winning percentage of any team that's ever played in the College World Series. We just watched a weekend of super regional baseball that 2 conferences got their teams here. There was a Big East team. There were a couple of Pac-12 teams that were knocking on the door. There was a Missouri Valley Conference team. You know what those atmospheres are like, Evan. They were banger of atmosphere at Olson Field. Kentucky, even starting at 9 o'clock last night, local time, they were packed. It was great. We know what Haymarket Park has been for big moments. If you had to, and this can be a Nebraska angle or just a non-ACC SEC angle, what will it take to break through and win one weekend and then win another weekend, either at home or on the road, to break up that stranglehold of the SEC and the ACC on where college baseball is going?
I mean, it's going to be hard because as things are constructed right now, and this is what we're writing about at the World Herald this week for our preview section, is like the way that you build a team has changed dramatically in the last 3 years. It used to be stack your high school classes, maybe you had a JUCO player or two, and then you develop, and that's kind of, you survive the draft and then you go from there. And now it's you're talking free agency every year. There are a handful of programs, especially in college baseball, that far and away have more NIL resources. LSU was one last year. Tennessee is one. You see A&M, Florida State, both being very active in the portal with who they can pursue. So it's not even the landscape that it was 5 years ago. You're not going to see the Fullertons of the world making a run. You're not going to see the UC Irvines of the world making a run, because it's not a level playing field in that regard. And so if you're going to make it through outside of those extremely well-funded, well-invested programs, you're going to need to develop the heck out of it, of the people that you have. And you're probably going to have to do it in a 1 year sort of flash in the pan sort of role, because if you're in a smaller conference, your best players are probably going to get poached and make money elsewhere. I mean, look at Stanford, for crying out loud. They've been to the College World Series multiple times, and you lose Braden Montgomery, who's making maybe as much as anybody in college baseball this year. He's going to be in Omaha with his second CWS team. I don't know how often that's happened. I'm going to guess almost never. Mm-hmm. And so that's just the reality of it. You're playing from behind. You're going to have to find something special in the moment. For Nebraska, I think when they go to Oklahoma State, they saw it and breathed it firsthand for a whole weekend. Okay, O'Brate Stadium in Stillwater, this is the standard, and it's not Haymarket. Haymarket's a fun fan experience. It's one of the better parks in the Big Ten, no doubt about it, but it's not at the level of these national contenders. And Florida, look at their depth of talent. This was not by its own standards, not a great Florida team, but the talent was undeniable with, just up and down the lineup, guys that could hit the ball out of the ballpark, pitchers throwing in the low to mid 90s, seemingly everybody that was coming out of the bullpen. And so I always think regionals is where that shows up the most, is the depth. And you get into that second and third game. Look what Indiana and Illinois did in their third games. They got run off the field because they didn't have the depth. And so that's the challenge, is to try to compete from that perspective, from a facilities perspective. What you do in the transfer portal, it's a big uphill battle. And I think probably what we're seeing this year absolutely is reflective of what's going on in college athletics and how hard it is for the so-called now outsiders to break through.
This is depressing, isn't it?
Kind of. Yeah. I like a good underdog story. You don't want too many of them, but the Stony Brooks and the Fresno States, it's hard for me to see a scenario where they break through, even as improbable as it was at the time. It's even more so now. It just, Evansville, the fact that they got one against Tennessee seemed like a huge upset. And then obviously that was that was quelled by the Volunteers on Sunday, and they made sure that that wasn't going to happen again. And some of it's baseball, right? Like baseball is a little bit more unpredictable than some of your other major team sports. But yeah, I mean, it's just it's where it is. Like you have to embrace the star power of it and sort of the grandeur that you're going to have. Like these are going to be teams that are going to send more fans than Evansville would have, or probably Oregon State would have. But it's just where it is. And so until that changes, until there's more regulations, like I think you're going to continue to see a lot of that. And maybe the full scholarships thing, if that comes to fruition here in a year or two, further skews things as well. But just kind of where we are right now, the field, I think, will be a fun field. There are a lot of really interesting teams and storylines. There's for sure. But I think big picture, when you look at the health of the sport, it's just a reminder that, maybe there's 300 Division I teams, but it feels more like, 20 to 30 are the only ones that are going to be contenders every year.
And you just said it. Eventually, we see scholarship limitations go away. That obviously proves even bigger for the SEC and the ACC. But zeroing in on Nebraska, when it comes to what those conferences and those teams can offer with the collective, and that's been made a lot more public here the last couple of years as far as how that works with baseball. Do you ever see a scenario where Nebraska gets really competitive with their collective for baseball, even if, say, you don't have a 3 or 4 year run of postseason consistency, at least appearances? Are they ever going to be proactive? Do you ever see Nebraska play in that game where, we feel that the success will come, we need to get in on it now and at least be competitive when it comes to name, image, likeness?
I mean, if it's going to happen, like right now, seems like a good moment for that with the momentum of a regional and what you did in Omaha, a couple weeks ago. So I think it's possible, and football's in an interesting place where there's so much being invested in that side. But like, I don't know that that's an excuse why baseball can't be that way at Nebraska. I mean, Florida State baseball is really good, and they're not neglecting football, right? I mean, Florida, kind of the same thing. A&M. I mean, these are schools that are investing in a lot of sports and doing really well at it. I think, the Nebraska thing, it becomes more obvious in the last few years that like they just need some facilities upgrades. And it's not, again, for the fans. Like if you're a casual fan and you go to Haymarket, it's a fun experience, and the sight lines are good, and you get food options, and it's fun. I think it's the player development stuff, and we've talked about it on this show before. But like, you look at what some of these top programs are doing; all their stuff's in one place. Wake Forest invested in a pitching lab. What could Nebraska do with something like that with Rob Childress at the helm? Like that would be really interesting. So they have some, there's some limitations there. I do think they have the commitment with the fan base, with the administration. Certainly maybe with the administration more than they have in the last handful of years to get something done on a bigger level. But we'll see. There's still hoops to jump through. There's more funds, financial funds are limited in a way that they haven't been really in college sports history. And then who knows where Nebraska fits in an era of full scholarships for baseball. You would imagine that they would fund that, but I don't know. So it's a lot of unknowns there. I do think the commitment's there. Like you still look at the end of the day, and this was a team that finished number 11 nationally in home attendance per game. Like that says something. You're talking outside of the SEC and I think Southern Miss, Nebraska shows up as well as anyone. So at what point do you as administration or NIL donors like look at that level of investment externally and say, let's invest at a level that reflects the expectations of the fan base. So I think this year helps in that regard, but until it happens, it hasn't happened. And so we'll see, I guess, where it goes.
This will be the 35th anniversary of the last time a non-warm weather site won a national championship in baseball. Wichita State back in 1989. Evan Bland of the World Herald joining us. I want to slip in some football here. Is there a position group that you are curious about, maybe with depth, the youth at a position that you'll look at in June, July, August, and go, that might be a concern, that you think won't be a concern at the end of the year?
Probably linebacker, I would say, just with what they lost. You have some guys back in Mekhi Bear and John Bullock and Javen Wright that probably can fill that role. We saw them do it in smaller doses last year, but it's probably just the most unproven group, certainly on that side of the ball. So yeah, I mean, it's a group where, like, especially relative to the secondary and the defensive line, you kind of know what you're going to get from a lot of those mainstay contributors who are back. But I think we could be at a point at the end of the season where we look back and we say, oh yeah, what were we doing, wondering about these guys, and just Nebraska's propensity to rotate a bunch of players at that position. They're probably going to go 4 or 5 deep with some of the younger guys that are going to develop there as well. I could see that being a position at the end of the season where we're just like, okay, they were fine, and maybe it was just a matter of saying goodbye to Nick Henrich and Luke Reimer. But that's probably one that jumps out on that side of the ball. I'd say receiver, kind of on the other side too. Like, you don't have a ton of proven long-term commodities that are back, but I absolutely could see that position being one by November where you're like, whoa, they have some serious dudes and difference makers there. Whether you're talking about the freshmen like Ja'Cory Barney or Malachi Coleman or Jalen Lloyd, or some guys that really just popped a little bit last year. So I think it's reflective of Nebraska being in a pretty good place where you can have some turnover, and you feel like, maybe in the immediate future, there's not a lot of proven commodities there, but you can absolutely see a path to where some of these guys who were role players a year ago can settle in and keep the production where it was, or maybe even take it to the next level.
Evan, the news of Ethan Nation no longer being on the roster, that led you to think what when it comes to the secondary, and then just Ethan's overall situation in Nebraska?
I thought for at least 2024, his departure was a bigger loss in the return game than it was in the secondary. I mean, he was someone who was taking punts and being mentioned as a potential kick returner or being in that mix. And so, as we all know, Nebraska's really struggled in the return game for a number of years. So, like, losing a guy who could be a potential difference maker there, I thought for at least this year, was impactful. I don't know how much he would have or would not have played in the secondary this year. He was a prospect with pedigree for sure, and you heard a few good things behind the scenes about what he was able to do. But to me, that was maybe more of a guy who would have slid in 25 after the secondary graduated a few different guys. So, it sounds like it was more off the field stuff or just things in his life that prompted him to leave. And I think, I don't read into it too much more than, like, when you have a roster of 140 guys, sometimes these things pop up. We saw it in the off season with Eric Fields, and a couple other guys as well. So these things do happen. You don't want it to be guys who are among the headliners of your recent classes, but I do think Nebraska has enough depth there that it probably won't affect it too much, at least in the near future.
Yep, I agree. Evan, we appreciate it. Enjoy the week leading up to our marathon downtown.
Can't wait, guys. See you there.
That's Evan Bland of the Omaha World Herald. I agree with him on Ethan Nation. I mean, he was going to get on the field. How many snaps he was going to be on the field for, or where he was going to be used, let's don't say he wasn't going to play. So I tend to believe that maybe it was just something that did not gel, not with playing time. It was something else that he is not returning. I would not read much more into it. But the question I asked Evan about a position group that you start the year going, depth, inexperience, that by the end of the year, you might go, oh, I had nothing to worry about. Defensive backfield is going to be that one for me, because there are some youth. They have a lot of defensive backs, safeties, and cornerbacks. They have some top-line guys that are really good, but then they have to fill in either new starters or depth, or, have some injury concerns of washed away that they're fine, like a Singleton or a Bly Hill when he comes back. But I think towards the end of the year, because of the guy that's in that room, we'll be talking differently, and we'll be using a Charles and a Boodle, and I'll even say a Malcolm Hartzog and his turnaround in 24 compared to 23 as an area where you'll go, yeah, we're not going to worry about Evan Cooper's room anymore because he's that guy. And I will say that I do have concerns about their depth because it's unknown ability to play at this level on a consistent basis, that I may be saying next year at the same time, that's one of Nebraska's strengths is their defensive backs.
I think that if you go with just the Evan Cooper part of that conversation, I think it's easy to get a lot of people to jump on board with that as well. And it's because, again, you look at a lot of capable bodies, and I'm glad you brought up Malcolm Hartzog because I think he might be one of the more intriguing guys in the secondary this year, just to see with what he went through last year, playing a little bit of corner than safety. We know, he's been outspoken about it. He knows he's more of a safety. It feels like they've tried to trend him more in that direction, even with the injury to Hill, that you still feel if he's in more of a natural position that he can return to form. And I think that's another guy that everybody is kind of rooting for. Not that they're not rooting for other guys either, but I think he's someone that a lot of people are looking to step back into a prominent role if he's given that opportunity. But again, yeah, I mean, with what Tommy Hill gave you last year, there was a lot of chatter, and a lot of this came from Evan Cooper. And again, this is why I bring up Evan Cooper. And I think it's a good mention on your part because we I know I did, kind of rolled my eyes when I would hear the praise about Tommy Hill and the things that he could do. They're like, really? Are we all in on Tommy Hill again? And we remember there was the play against Colorado that was a big play. But give the guy credit with what he did in the second half of the season as well. And I think you saw a lot of guys that were either kind of hovering on, yeah, I buy into him or I don't. You saw them all take that step forward there towards the end of last year. So I think it's a good call because what you lost a year ago, but the bodies that you have there, it comes back down to, well, you can't fully 100% trust him yet because you haven't seen them all play together as a group. But given the track record of what Evan Cooper can do, the way he connects, the way he coaches, that could be definitely not only a trending area of strength at the end of the season, but going into next year for sure.
And I now have a soft spot in my heart for Malcolm Hartzog. One, I like comeback stories, and the bottom line is Nebraska needs something out of him. All right. They can't have the roller coaster that he was on beginning opening night at Minnesota last year. And you go, what happened to that guy that was playing as a freshman? I have a soft spot in my heart because Malcolm Hartzog is a broadcasting major.
Oh, there
he wants to be, when it's all said and done, when his football career is over, he wants to be one of us.
Oh, that poor man.
I asked him if he'd like to host a sports talk show in Nebraska during the season.
We've got options.
He thought about it for a moment, then said, I don't know how I would ask. That's a good response. All right. 53 past the hour. Quick break. We'll come back. Jacob Bigelow is going to join us coming up in the next hour. We're waiting on Hurley.
Hurley watch. It's like Panda watch.
We are waiting. There is a Creighton angle here because I would think that if Hurley leaves, Creighton's the favorite to win the Big East. And remember, if Hurley leaves, the door is open for 30 days. Mm-hmm. There are a couple of guys that, Creighton danced around with in this most recent cycle of portaling. You never know. You never know. But I just have the gut that college basketball wins today. It's weird. I don't think people in the NBA are on pins and needles going, I wonder what Hurley's going to do. I wonder what Hurley's going to do. But in college basketball, that's what we're doing because there could be a domino, whether it be with players or coaches. They have a great assistant in Kamani Young. But boy, that's UConn. Who wouldn't want to go there? I think it's not a plug and play, but it's pretty darn close in terms of winning a national championship. Kevin Ollie, Jim Calhoun, Dan Hurley. Hurley's just built different that he could win 2 and maybe 3 before he's been there a decade. All right, so we'll watch. Refresh. No word yet. It's almost 10 o'clock on the East Coast. What is he doing? Why isn't no escalators tweeting? What's going on? Mornings with Sharp and Handley at 1620 The Zone.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley returns in minutes on 1620 The Zone.
Is your concrete cracked or uneven? Hey everyone, Coach Greg McDermott here to explain why you should choose Everlevel Concrete Repair. Many people think they need to replace broken concrete, but repairing it provides durable protection and comes at a fraction of the cost. Everlevel provides permanent repair solutions to fix your concrete and protect it against future damage, and it all comes with a long-term transferable warranty. They offer free inspections to walk you through the entire process. Call Everlevel Concrete Repair today.
Like eating out? Like saving money? Then get to Cops at 180th and Center, Shadow Lake Town Center, or 72nd and Jones for their daily specials. Tuesday is $3 off all burgers and sandwiches. Wednesday, buy any specialty pizza and get a one-topping 50% off. Then Thursday, all wings are $1 each when you order 10. And this just in, all Cops locations now offer their own delivery service. Click copspizza.com to see the menu. Cops, pizza, and so much more.
Grandpa Dave here from Osted's Golf, helping the grandkids get their dad the perfect gift for Father's Day.
Thanks for your help, Grandpa. Dad wasn't thrilled with the candy that we got him last year, but we sure liked it.
Okay, kids, save up to $200 on clubs from TaylorMade, Callaway, Titleist, or Ping. We're up to 50% off name brand golf apparel. Buy 2 dozen Strixon balls, get one free. And dads love Osted's gift cards.
Papa, we need a bigger allowance.
Talk to your dad.
Shop Osted's Golf for Father's Day.
Howdy, Greg Wagner joining you from the Nebraska Game and Parks Commission. Time now for another Nebraska Outdoor Update. Hey, planning a trip to a state park? One of Nebraska's 76 state park lands? Excellent. But don't forget your state park permit, money for camping fees and other activities, a fishing permit if you want to wet a line, and oh yeah, a 6-foot leash for Scruffy, your pet. Thank you, and we hope to see you out there. By the way, you can get all kinds of information on the Nebraska State Park lands through the Game and Parks website. That web address is outdoornebraska.gov. Are you going fishing? I thought so. For proper catch and release fishing this season to ensure fish survival, I want you to remember these important things. Land the fish as quickly as possible. Handle the fish as little as possible. Keep the fish in the water as much as possible. And release the fish as fast as possible. Enjoy your fishing experience, and we'll see you out there. I'm Greg Wagner with Nebraska Game and Parks.
The 2024 Men's College World Series plays here on 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com. Presented locally by Woodhouse Ford. Every pitch, every hit, every game. Also brought to you by Midwest Ford Dealers, the Henry Dorley Zoo, and Velocity Clinical Research. Don't miss a minute of Omaha's biggest event, the 2024 Men's College World Series on 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com.
The Zone Inbox is brought to you by Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. Email me, Connor Happer, with the Connor Happer Show at Connor, CONNOR, at 1620thezone.com. Send me your love, your hate, and maybe a few hot takes. The Zone Inbox, presented by Equitable Bank.
1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com. And we're back. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Here's Gary, Nick, and Jimmy on 1620 The Zone.
Did you guys see the Savannah Bananas sold out Fenway Park over the weekend?
I did. It's pretty impressive.
So they sold out Minute Maid. They've sold out Fenway. They basically sold out everywhere that they have gone. Will they be in Omaha in 2025? Will they be downtown or will they be in Sarpy County?
So it's essentially baseball's Harlem Globetrotters.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. It's interesting. I'm curious in, say, 5 to 10 years if it will have that type of popularity because it's gaining so much traction. And
Don't fight it, Mr. Baseball Guy. Don't fight it. I hear it in your voice. You do not want to embrace the Savannah Bananas.
That's what I got.
No, you guys would be accurate.
Stay in your dugout. Do not come out near the foul line. Stay in your dugout.
I'm totally no fun today, aren't I?
You're me.
I am.
I'm over here smiling.
I'm in an East Coast time zone right now and just being an absolute Richard today. No, I get it. It's got its place. You know what I am for with the Savannah Bananas is it brings more attention to the game of baseball for young people. I feel like if you do create more fun at those games where it's more interactive, like, if we're going to see, and we're going to hear a lot about this on Sunday on Father's Day, you're going to get a lot of those moments of, dad and son in the stands watching the game. Dad's trying to teach him why that person is standing the way he is over at third and why the pitcher looks like that and is doing what he's doing. But as far as the interactive part of the Savannah Bananas, especially with younger kids, if that gets them more excited about it, then I'm all for it. So I'm not going to resist it that much. Is it something that I'm going to go see? No, I'm good. Unless Reese wants to see it. Maybe, I could see Reese liking that. So
Reese
I would do it.
Okay. All right. I will be very interested to see if they end up here in Omaha in 25. They're over in Des Moines. They've been in Kansas City. Last year, I think both entities made a pitch to get the Savannah Bananas here. So we will see. But selling out Fenway Park over the weekend, not bad. Here's the other little nugget this weekend. If you did not think that Savannah Bananas could sell out a Major League Park. So Scotty Scheffler won Jack's tournament yesterday. He is a major favorite to win the U.S. Open at Pinehurst this weekend. And American men have now won 5 straight majors. And so Scheffler is a 3-1 favorite. I mean, just
won a lot of them.
Overwhelming. And he has won, he's finished first or second in 7 of the last 8. Yep. He has won 5 of the last 8. The one that he did not, he was in jail. He had jail time. He finished tied for 8th in the PGA. Do you know what might be one of the most impressive things of the Scotty Scheffler run? Doesn't have to do with Scotty Scheffler. One of the events that Scheffler entered that he didn't win, Nick Dunlap, an amateur, won the American Express. That's crazy. And by the way, Dunlap, who is at Alabama, was really good this weekend at Jack's tournament. But Scotty Scheffler this is ridiculous what he's doing right now.
I asked Matt about this before the PGA Championship. The run that he's on, it doesn't get the same type of coverage as what Tiger was doing when he started just going on a tear. But if you start just looking at the finishes and the overall between the Saturday and Sunday, your money days of if you're going to make a moving day, and then of course what you're doing on Sunday, there's a lot of comparisons there. Now, there's also a part of Scotty Scheffler that he's boring. I mean, he's a winning machine, but he's just boring. I mean, he's a guy that he's a super kind person. He doesn't have this emotional flare up anytime. The one thing that actually gave him a lot of more eyeballs as far as his personality was his arrest, if you believe that. So it just kind of tells you he's not going to move the needle when it comes to the overall dominance that we have not seen in this stretch since Tiger Woods. Yet it's not going to get the same type of headlines. And the Tiger Woods impact went far beyond just golf itself, as we all know. But just what he's doing right now is very comparable.
He gives us something to shoot for because he's one of those guys that tells you can dominate without sleep. As with a newborn in his house, he is not sleeping and he is still dominating. No. All right. Last hour up coming on a Monday. Again, College World Series, the pearly gates of college baseball have opened up. And here come the people from the South. ACC, SEC. Will we have 5-3 or will we have 4-4? North Carolina State, Georgia play later today to punch the last ticket here. And I'm getting some pushback on my seeding rankings for Rocco's Jello shot.
All right. Somebody's challenging.
Somebody said I'm not giving enough love to Texas A&M. I have Texas A&M as a 5 seed. They say Texas A&M should be a number 1 seed.
What?
I'm like, Kentucky's new here.
No.
Kentucky. I mean, no one can compete with LSU.
What is Trev buying everybody shots?
Maybe even Mississippi State or Ole Miss.
I mean, Aggies can drink, but I don't know if they'll be able to go back.
I don't believe that. I think Kentucky is a very justified number 1 seed. A&M, I wouldn't even have my top 3.
A&M better drinking Texas school than UT.
I mean, when the Colt gets drinking, boy, they drink.
A lot of nut grabbing.
Are they going to be out here?
Oh, yes, they will. They will show up in mass because they think they have a chance to win a national championship. Jacob Bigelow, he's coming up next on 1620 The Zone.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com with Gary Sharp and Nick Handley. Live from the Host Coffee Studio, this is 1620 The Zone. 1620 The Zone. Traffic.
From the Pyramid Roofing Time Saving Traffic Center. Not a bad Monday morning in the Omaha Metro with no accidents to report. You could expect some slow goings on eastbound Dodge from I-680 to 90th, westbound Dodge from 72nd to 84th, in on 204th in both directions between Pacific and F. Otherwise, traffic flow is smooth sailing. You shouldn't have to worry about being late to your destination. Hope you have a fantastic rest of your day. Just be sure to buckle up and drive safe out there. I'm Joey Colbert.
This time-saving traffic was brought to you by Fernando's.
Mario Street Tacos or steak and chorizo queso blanco enchiladas can only be found in one place. Fernando's. Great Mexican food, awesome margaritas. Omaha's favorite Mexican for more than 30 years.
Post is roasting every morning. Post Coffee Services stands as the vibrant heart of every break room, offering the unique fusion of traditional quality and modern flair. We're not just your coffee provider, we're the center of memorable workplace moments. Call us today.
Proudly serving Nebraska since 1972. Post Coffee Services is always roasting something good for you.
Introducing Modern Real Estate, the game changer in Nebraska's property market. With a competitive 2% commission rate, we're making buying, selling, and investing more affordable and transparent than ever. Our experienced agents blend local expertise with cutting-edge technology to provide top-notch personalized service to all clients. Don't settle for less when you can save big without compromising. Visit modernrealestateco.com and experience the future of real estate today. Modern Real Estate, redefining the way you do real estate.
Hey, pet parents. With Progressive's collision coverage, you get extra protection for your cat or dog, because there's nothing worse than seeing your pet hurt. Like when you see their face after accidentally stepping on their tail, and you say, "I'm so sorry, Mr. Pickles." But as you kiss his nose and rub his little belly welly, you know Mr. Pickles is thinking, "You betrayed me." Anywho, Progressive pays up to $1,000 in vet bills if your pet is injured in an auto accident. Learn more at Progressive.com and watch where you step. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Collision coverage subject to policy terms. Not available in all states.
A fantastic fall fishing trip starts right now. Hi, I'm Crash Davis. I need you to go to ballardsresort.com and get signed up. You've heard me talking about it. You've asked me about it. Well, now is the time to get signed up. Only a few spots remain. Only a few days remain for us to have a great fishing adventure together at Ballards Resort in northern Minnesota. We're going to the Lake of the Woods. Get on the bus Sunday. We're back on Thursday, and it's cheaper than you could do for gas there and back hauling a boat. More details with ballardsresort.com. Get signed up today. Time is of the essence.
The back seat. Check the back seat. All right, come here. Check the back seat.
Gets in your head, right? Good. Because every year, dozens of children are forgotten in the backseat of a car by a parent or caregiver. All never thought it could happen to them. But with changes in routines, distractions, or a sleeping child, it can happen to anyone. Parked cars get hot, fast, and can be deadly. So get it in your head.
Check the back seat.
A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Tickets for less. Best seats, best prices, no service fees. Shop ticketsforless.com. KOZN Bellevue, Omaha, Council Bluffs. This is 1620 The Zone. And we're back. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Here's Gary, Nick, and Jimmy on 1620 The Zone.
Always interested when our guests select their own entrance music. We kid because we care. We welcome in Jacob Bigelow. Back from Vegas, he hit the ground running. Was with our good friend Cole down at Broadcast House in Lincoln over the weekend doing his show, and now he's on our show. Good morning.
Good morning, gentlemen. How are we doing on this fine Monday morning?
We are fine. We got lots to discuss with you. The best and worst thing about the Sphere in Vegas.
Drinks are too damn expensive.
For example,
that's the worst thing. $25 for a margarita.
Are you a Margs guy?
It depends. depends on the day. But I think beers were $20, around $20 too. So I mean, it was not. Yeah, all the drinks were pretty exorbitantly priced. But I mean, it's hard to not say the visuals for the best thing. That's pretty tough. But I mean, the sound quality is up there too. Sound quality was really good as well.
Where were your seats?
They were lower. They were in the 100 level, but still had a pretty good view of the entire visual experience behind the stage. So yeah, they were not any of the higher up ones, which I've heard mixed reviews on from people who have been there. So
See, I've heard the higher up is better because there's just a lot of things going on. Like, did you wake up the next morning with a headache?
I did. I don't know if that was just because of the concert, but I did wake up with a headache that morning. But no, it's a lot to take in. It takes some getting used to. A lot of you definitely will feel overstimulated at first because it all just comes at you real fast. But it was definitely an experience I'll be talking about for a while.
Would you recommend taking a gummy before you go watch anything at the Sphere?
That's if you're into that sort of thing,
Okay.
yeah, if you're
All right.
into that sort of thing, go for it. Do whatever it takes for you to get as lost in the experience as you feel is applicable for yourself and your own taste. So.
That was an interesting response to that question.
Wait, I want to go back to the visuals. You were talking about the visuals. Are you talking about what was inside the Sphere as the ambiance of the show, or are we talking about individuals?
The ambiance of the show. Like screen. I mean, the whole like screen behind you. I mean, I've got way too many damn videos in my camera roll of what I saw, but I mean, it was all really, really cool stuff. So.
Okay. All right.
So
So did you?
Glad you made it back in one piece.
Yes, that's true.
Of course, had to get back and get locked in for College World Series week. Well, I couldn't put that to risk, right?
Hey, this was what number of Dead concerts you've seen? Because weren't you in Boulder last year?
I was in Boulder last year, so this was only number 2 for me. Slight work compared to my dad, who when I asked him what his number was in total, since he was a lot younger man, he just said some number between 30 and 50. He didn't give me a direct number, just gave me a range. So, but just 2 for me.
Tribute to Bill Walton?
Not at our show. I think that may have been a one-time thing the week before.
All right. Jacob Bigelow joining us here on Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Let me ask you this question. Last night, 7th inning, Oregon, Texas A&M. Olsen Field is going nuts. What is your favorite part of the 7th inning? Was it the walk, the single, the strikeout, the walk, the strikeout, the walk, the hit by pitch, the walk, the pitching change, the walk, the grand slam? What was your favorite part of the 7th inning last night in College Station when Oregon led 8-4, but when the inning was over, they were trailing 13-8?
I think it's probably the grand slam, just because Caden Kent. I mean, he knew right off the bat. He pimped it like he knew it too. Gave the dugout to Jordan Frug when he got around third to. And then I had the realization that's Jeff Kent's kid. That was another thing I realized after he hit that grand slam. I'm like that's Jeff Kent's kid. But that was probably the highlight of that complete and total colossal meltdown for Oregon in that inning.
So you don't like walks, is what you're telling me. That's a bunch of crap. Come on, Jacob. Get down with the modern college baseball game. Why don't you?
No, after what I had to witness on the slow pitch softball field last week, I am all the way out on walks at any level.
No.
Full of whether it's slow pitch or baseball. I mean, yeah, walks. No, not a fan. Not a fan by any means.
So Texas A&M is here, and they're really good. They are going to come here with their athletic director. He will be in attendance. It is coming up on 3 months ago. It seems like this was so long ago that Trev made the decision to leave Nebraska and go to Texas A&M. And he did not go to the NCAA men's or women's basketball tournaments, but he will be here in Omaha. What do you think the reaction will be?
Depends on how out there he wants to make himself. I mean, I'm sure he'll be on a, he'll be in an ESPN shot at one point, I'm sure, but I don't know if, the in-stadium people will throw him up on the video board. If they do, I'm sure he'll get a very warm reception. If you hope you can hear the sarcasm in my voice there. But, I mean, it'll be mixed, I'm sure. I mean, I'm sure there's still folks with, I would hope that the vitriol that we saw that week in March and the weeks after is at least subsided a little. But, I don't think there's going to be a bunch of warm and rosy reception for Trev by any means.
When they talk about Trev Alberts, because I agree that they will have a camera shot of him at some point, will they bring up the fact that he was the former Nebraska athletic director first, or will, since they're in Omaha and we've got University of Nebraska, Omaha just down the road, will they maybe show a shot of the fine university over there on 60th and the facilities and say, yes, this was a Trev Alberts doing right here? Do you think they'll get more Omaha attention than UNL?
That's a good question. I mean, I'm sure the intro will be, here's a guy who knows a thing or two about Omaha and Nebraska as a whole. Right? This guy knows a thing or two. I'm sure it'll be something like that. And then, I wonder, I don't know what team's going to practice over at Tal, but I'm sure if A&M's practicing at Tal before, when they get here early, I'm sure there'll be some photo op on social media or some reference to, that of some sort. But I'm sure it'll be a nice, corny intro. They'll say something about Omaha. They'll say, well, here's a guy who knows all about Omaha. It's Texas A&M athletic director Trev Alberts. And then we'll go from there. But it could definitely be one or the other.
No, I would imagine they will practice at Tal Anderson, and Trev will be there with them to show what they built, because they have a major project that is in the works for their baseball stadium in College Station.
Yeah, find something you love as much as Trev loves facility surveys. Sent out the baseball facility survey a couple months back. He loves sending out some facility surveys. That place is already college baseball palace down there. But if they're gonna put some more improvement into it, more power to them. And the last couple of years they've had with Schloss, I mean, it's well earned.
All right, you just answered the question that I asked 2 questions ago by your response to that question. Good job. I can feel your excitement.
Bring it back around. Bring it back around somehow.
I mean, I don't know how we'll handle it. It's going to be a story. He's back. I think they would make a wise move by not showing him on the video board, because not everybody in the stadium is from Nebraska. And if some people boo, they won't get it if you don't know his connection to Nebraska. So I know it's a weird thing to handle, but he is going to be here. And I imagine he will stop and say hello to people that he has not seen since he left 3 months ago. All right, let's shift to basketball. I know you like to break down basketball, and you like to go in depth, and you like to talk about some of the back screens on the baseline to get guys open, or what the Celtics are doing with Gafford and Lively to get them into mismatches at the top of the key. But what if I asked you, in this series with Boston up 2-0, can you get away with just saying Boston has more dudes than Dallas?
I think you can. I mean, I think you can definitely get away with it. I mean, the best player is on one team, and his team is the team that's down 0-2. And he was, ironically enough, the player that was getting the most discussion on the ESPN postgame coverage last night when his team was down 0-2, because he had a triple-double and did what we're used to seeing him doing. But I think it's you could get away with that. You could get away with the classic case of best player in the series versus the better team, which is the same thing you asked if you could get away with, but just with different words. But I mean, that's kind of what it's come down to. I mean, Boston is just more complete. They have better supporting cast. I mean, that's kind of been the story through the first 2 games, in my opinion.
Okay, and the other story about it is, Boston didn't shoot great yesterday too, but defensively and what they've done from a rotational standpoint, everything that they've kind of thrown at Dallas defensively, are you surprised by how effective that has been? I know that they play defense. We know Boston can, but as far as just this matchup going into it, is that more of a surprise for you?
I mean, I'm kind of surprised, not like too terribly, because I'm really high on both Drew Holiday and Derek White defensively, and they've both been on a different level than. I mean, they were both really good in the regular season. Both been pretty solid in these playoffs too, but they've stepped it up, in these first two games, and they've been really impressive. And then to the icing on the cake for Drew is his offensive production, last night, obviously. So. I've been kind of surprised, but not too terribly. And the Celtics, they've been able to defend at a high level all year. When they get going with their drive and kick game from three, and if they have both things going, they're pretty tough to beat. We've seen a little bit of both, through the first two games.
Hey, we'll get you out on this because we kind of alluded to it last Monday, and then it came to fruition. Berkey from Turkey said yes to Nebraska, and Nebraska may not be done. They may have another edition before we get into the heart of the offseason. But you're going to start to see pictures of the newcomers today, and Nebraska's back and practicing. As you look at the reconfigured roster, what is an area that, or two, an area or more that you don't think Nebraska addressed in the offseason with their additions?
That's an excellent question. I think they at least attempted to address just about every area I can think of. I can give you what I think the biggest question is, and the biggest question is definitely 3-point shooting. I think that's going to be the biggest question looking at this roster from top to bottom. I mean, they didn't have a point guard last year. They'll have two of them this coming year. They had a 4-man playing the 5. Now they have a true 7-foot big and a backup in Morgan, and possible to play small ball lineups. They've possibly the most post depth Nebraska basketball's had in quite a while. On the wing, you bring back Williams and Gary. I think they addressed plenty of areas, but I think the biggest thing looking at the roster from top to bottom, question mark for me is where's the 3-point shooting going to come from? I think they know who they want it to come from, but I mean, who's going to game one against UT Rio Grande Valley, or I think that's who they're going to end up opening with. Who's gonna have the first play drawn up for them to take and hopefully make a 3.
Is Berkey going to play any defense?
It's a great question. I haven't gotten in the film room and watched too much tape yet, so I don't have a really good evaluation on him. I've watched a little bit of his FIBA stuff, but I don't. Yeah, it was pretty solid. But I don't.
Lots of good shooting there. Lots of good shooting.
Yeah,
shooting. Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
So
Well,
it looks like Doug.
Yeah, we've determined that everybody has a twin in this world. You may run into them, you may never run into them. That there's a little bit of a Doug McDermott look to him.
I don't know if I fully.
Whoa.
But I guess I haven't looked at the side by side, but I haven't looked at the side by side of it. I'll have to take a look, get a verdict back to you on that.
All right. I mean, I'd go to Vegas, and that's be one of the first things I would do. But that's you. John says, by the way, Jacob, and John is a world traveler. He went to the Flamingo Beach Club in Vegas. 2 double frozen margaritas at the Flamingo pool. Would you guys like to guess what the price was? These are 2 drinks. This is from John.
$56.48.
Yeah, I was gonna say $50.
Do $1, Jacob.
Now he added he with tip. This is what it cost him.
Oh, $75.
2 double frozen margs at the Flamingo pool
plus tip. $78.46. Final answer, Regis.
Jacob?
$67.
101.08.
Oh,
so who wins?
Jesus.
Pick up your parting gift as you leave the studio and the airwaves. Jacob, welcome back. Enjoy the week, and I'm sure that we'll see you downtown for the College World Series.
Absolutely. All right. Have a good rest of the week, fellas. Appreciate it.
It's Jacob Bigelow, fresh from Vegas. Got back in late Friday night. Hasn't missed a beat.
In radio Saturday morning, right?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
How does he not think Berkay looks like Dougie McBuckets? Come on.
That's on him. Did Jacob go there by himself?
I'm not.
Jacob go to Vegas by himself?
I'm not sure. I thought he was with someone.
It wouldn't shock me if Jacob seems like he could be a guy that he could have a crowd, but if he needed to go independent, he would, and he'd have just as good of a time.
Spur of the moment, cheap flight.
Yeah.
Head to Vegas for like 3 days. You got off?
Yeah. Papa Gummy, as he said.
Tickets became available to the Sphere and to see the Dead. Then I could see him saying, you know what? No one's going. I'll go.
I don't know if I could do Vegas by myself.
I couldn't do Vegas by myself. No. I could do Branson, Missouri by myself.
Oh.
I don't know. I'm just throwing it out. I don't know if I'd ever want to go to Branson, Missouri, period.
Whoa.
Yeah,
Why not?
I went a long time ago, and I was Gary. I was
youth baseball facility there.
That's what I heard. That would be kind of cool to see. Now I was told. So this was the day and age of growing up, going to Worlds of Fun, which I loved, and then Adventureland, which wasn't bad either. It was a nice, shorter alternative if we didn't want to make the 3-hour drive to Kansas City. We'd take the 2-hour drive to Des Moines. I was told that Silver Dollar City was a lot of fun, and boy, was I wrong, or boy, were they wrong when they told me, hey, we're going to go to Branson, we're going to go to Silver Dollar City. That was one of the most boring, I don't even know if I call it an amusement park. It was awful. So I'm forever scarred. I don't like Branson.
We've still switched roles today, and I love it.
I'm just saying. I'm just being real. Anybody who tells you that Silver Dollar City is a good time, they haven't been to a real amusement park.
Well, I mean, you go to Branson, you can go to Yakov Smirnoff.
Oh, yeah. See, I remember seeing the residency. Yeah, Yakov. And then there was a, there were a lot of obscure ones. Like, hey, who was that? And then I was told, oh, they were somebody once upon a time. But I remember Yakov, yeah.
Yeah, he's been in Branson for a long time. Jacob did not go solo to Vegas. So don't worry about him. Yeah. And he could handle if he went solo to Vegas.
I don't worry about him.
Then you just wake up and you're in your bathtub and you're missing a kidney.
Well, been there.
Or there's a tiger in your room.
Well, Andy says that Silver Dollar City has changed. It has the world's largest spinning coaster. Okay, all right. Hey, throw me some big roller coasters and more grand amusement park type features. And now at 45, I don't think I would probably last very long. But yeah, when I was in my teens, I wanted to experience that. And they just didn't have a lot to offer.
So you're not going to detour to Branson on your way home and then be like, hey, boys, I'll be on stream tomorrow from Branson?
You guys don't want that to happen. You may never hear from me again.
When we come back, I've never been pregnant before, but I had like a pregnancy craving over the weekend that I need to ask the question. Yeah, no, that would be some incredible news.
It would be. I
thought you left till 9:27.
You're gonna completely change science the way we know it.
Yes. But I had a craving this weekend that I have to figure out if it can come true. I have a need. I'm telling you, I have a need. And not for speed. On 1620 The Zone.
Gary Sharp, Nick Handley, and Jimmy Chavez. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Weekdays 6 to 10. On 1620 The Zone. And 1620thezone.com. The Connor Happer Show.
Chris writes in on Twitter, there will be no missing Angel Hernandez. Absolutely none. He's terrible, and I'm truly happy to see him go. Do you at all feel bad for a human man, Angel Hernandez, who just so happens to be just awful at his job? Do you at all feel like, all right, he's retiring, we should just let it go, rather than pile on, happy to see you go, rotten hell, you know?
The Connor Happer Show. Weekdays from 10 to 2 on 1620 The Zone. Your Omaha area forecast presented by Funplex Water Park and Rides from the KETV Newswatch 7 Weather Center on 1620 The Zone.
Beautiful weather to kick off the work week with a high today in Omaha of 83 degrees, plenty of sunshine, light and variable winds, and low relative humidity. We'll see clouds increase a bit tonight, becoming partly cloudy, still mild with a low of 60. For your Tuesday, partly cloudy, a bit warmer with a high of 88, and a 20% chance of showers, especially to start the day. I'm meteorologist Caitlin Harvey with KETV Newswatch 7.
It's going to be another sizzling hot summer. Stay cool with 35% off new Champion windows. Don't burn your money on high energy bills. Get new energy efficient windows from Champion. 35% off. Plus, get an extra $100 off every window you replace. The more you buy, the more you save. We help you choose the best design options for your home. We then build your project in our very own factory. Our install team manages your project every step of the way, and it's all backed by our lifetime guarantee. Plus, we're giving away the chance to win a $50,000 home makeover. Enter online today. Turn your house into your dream home with more livable space in a new Champion sunroom, or enhance your curb appeal with new siding. Now 35% off. Don't wait. This sale won't last long. 35% off windows, sunrooms, and siding. Plus, get an extra $100 off every window you replace. Call 877-GO-CHAMPION or visit championsavenow.com to schedule a free in-home estimate today. All discounts apply to our regular prices. Select styles apply. Minimum purchase required. Cannot be combined with other advertised offers. See store or website for details.
Some people think business banking is only about transactions. But at Emprise, we don't view money as an end game. We see it as an engine. It's who we are. Transforming ideas into IPOs, turning potential into profit. Emprise is next generation business banking, where we help money work for you, not the other way around. That's the power of possible. Visit emprisebank.com to learn more. Member FDIC.
Are you the decision maker in your company? Consider this. For the first time in decades, there's a better option for a corporate card and spend management platform. Meet Ramp, the only corporate card and spend management system designed to help you spend less money so you can make more. Most corporate credit cards offer points as incentives, but those points amount to less than their worth in real cash value. Ramp's business cards offer you cash back, real money in your pocket. Plus, you control who spends what with each vendor. And Ramp software collects and verifies receipts automatically, which means you'll stop wasteful spending and close your books in hours instead of days. Businesses that use Ramp add up to 5% to their bottom line the first year. If you're a decision maker, adding Ramp could be one of the best decisions you've ever made. And now get $250 when you join Ramp for free. Just go to ramp.com/sports. Ramp.com/sports. ramp.com/sports.
Cards issued by Sutton Bank and Celtic Bank, members FDIC. Terms and conditions apply.
Success in today's electrical market requires your company to be able to adjust to an ever-changing field. A partnership with IBEW Local 22 gives you that flexibility with access to journeymen, apprentices, proven training programs, marketing assistance, entry into markets not available before, ability to expand and contract with changing market conditions, and a benefits package for you and your employees. Contact Bob at IBEW Local 22 for additional details at 402-980-7596.
Now back to mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone.
So I got some food thoughts here. One, what is Arby's doing? Did you guys see that for a limited
They have
time?
burgers?
Arby's has hamburgers.
Yeah.
You think of?
I'm intrigued. I'm curious.
Oh.
I'm curious because they've got the meats. They have the meats.
Don't they have the sweats?
Well,
Oh, what do you mean? I'm intrigued.
I'm intrigued.
Arby's is roast beef. Arby's does not need to be selling hamburgers.
No,
If
they
I
don't
wanted to get a hamburger, I wouldn't go to Arby's. If I wanted a roast beef, I wouldn't go to McDonald's. You are a roast beef place. Serve roast beef. There's no need to do hamburgers. There was nobody clamoring in this world that, you know what? If Arby's only did hamburgers, I wonder what that would be like.
Go to no other fast food place.
Do you remember when IHOP tried to do this too, to be the International House of Burgers? That didn't go well.
Yeah. I also have a couple of things here. So I woke up with this craving, and I think it's because we've talked about it.
Mm-hmm.
And I've driven by a couple of standalone Pizza Huts. I woke up Saturday morning, and I was craving the Pizza Hut buffet.
Yeah.
Now, there are still a few standalone Pizza Huts, even in this town, but not all offer the buffet. Do
any offer the buffet?
The two I called, no. Yes, I did.
Oh, you called them?
I had such a craving, but to be nostalgic and maybe to have this country heel with the Pizza Hut buffet, that I'm like, that's what I want for lunch on Saturday is the Pizza Hut buffet.
Yeah, sounds good.
Now, Pizza Huts don't open until 10:30, so I'm not sure what they're doing when I wake up at like 8:15 and I'm like, I'm very curious. But here's the other thing that I've also come to a conclusion after eating in a restaurant the other day. And, when you walk in and they go, would you like a booth or a table?
Yeah.
I am here to tell you, I don't mean to be mean about this. There is no one that goes to a restaurant where the booth is available that wants a table. There just isn't. And if they want the table over the booth, I'm very curious about who they are, how they're made up. So, a restaurant that is only booths. You might even call it booths. But that's
These are great ideas.
I love it.
Because I would love the person that opens up a restaurant that just called booths because they get it. No one wants a table. Okay? The table is open and so is the booth. How many people say, well, I would like just the table? Now, I get it. If you need the table because of you need wheelchair accessibility,
Yeah, right.
I get it. But there has been no time in my lifetime, and I think I'm an expert on eating, that I would go, that table over the booth. I'm always going booth. I think it would be great if there was just a restaurant that was just called booths. You walk in and it's lined on the wall from left to right, right to left. It's nothing but booths. And so you don't have to have would you like a table or a booth?
Boy, that would be such a weird concept.
Talk for a Monday is over, and I am not pregnant.
I'm sorry if you were hoping to be so, but walking in, at the middle of just the regular tables as you described to do away with. Can you imagine walking into a big restaurant where usually the tables reside with the booths bordering that section, that you would just have more booths in the middle? I don't know if my tiny little brain could handle that. I think it would. Now, are you going to do away with the high tops too? Because I like a high top.
Well, I mean, if I'm in a restaurant that
like
is
a high
just
top of the bar area.
Well, if I'm a restaurant that just is called booths, I can't have a high top. Then it just defeats the purpose.
But what's your bar? Are you not going to put a lot of emphasis on the bar? Because a booth with a bar next to it, that's kind of weird. Then you're really looking up at the bar service, unless you lower the bar.
I am losing this discussion because there are fewer people that are with me on team booth compared to team table.
Yeah, the phone's lit up.
I'm team booth for sure if I'm given the option, but I don't necessarily want to have no option for a table, especially like a high top.
Texter Bernie says tables are good for company lunches with 4 or more people. I want my own chair. Eric writes in, small children suck in booths.
That is also true.
And Matt says, I agree with Gary on a booth, except when my kid was young, high chairs work better than tables. Now here's Joey about my Pizza Hut buffet craving. I don't think that's a pregnancy craving. Might be called munchies, if you know what I mean.
What were you doing the night before?
Touche.
Nothing. I think I had a dream about the Pizza Hut buffet.
On our road trip, we drove through the metropolis of Concordia, Kansas, and they had a lunch buffet. And I looked at the time when we were driving, and I looked at my wife, and I was like, could we spare an hour? But we did not.
Now, I actually think where this comes from is because I was talking to a younger person, and they were telling me about their summer where they're reading books. Like the library is having some contest. And so they were all excited about reading books. And I was like, ooh, Pizza Hut. When we read books, we got free personal pan pizzas.
Yep. The
book may have come from that. Here is Scott, who is on Team Table. Good morning, Scott.
Gentlemen, thanks for taking my call. Hey, I got a plethora of stuff I want to get to today, but I'm Team Table all the way.
Okay.
I'm a little bit of a bigger guy, so I don't like cramming into a booth. I want to be able to rock my chair back just a little bit. Plus, in this day and age, if something crazy goes down, I want to be up at the drop of a second. I'm jumping straight up.
That's a good point.
If I got to whack a fool, I'm getting on it.
That's a good point. You got to be nimble.
I want you guys to lead the charge for congratulations to Texas A&M, and excited to see Trevor Benedict Alberts come back to Omaha and let's get on that pool.
Hey,
I'm
Scott.
about wrecking that guy.
Scott, let me ask you a question here. This is a serious question. Should we have him on as a guest on the show?
Can we throw pies at him? I'm in.
Well, that's up to Connor. He's the guy that does that at Winter Park.
I got the perfect contest though for charity. Have Benedict Alberts in a booth and we can throw Ronzas at him for $50. How's that?
You are a P1er. Thank you, Scott.
Good use of Ronza.
Sam writes in team table booths are too narrow.
Scott had a great point about the ability to get in and out, whether it's an emergency or just because you want to have the freedom of getting in and out. I would agree. Now, I would let you know the Handley family, even with a 3.5-year-old, we would prefer a booth over a table. But there's a lot of good points about kids in a booth too, especially if they're having a certain behavioral thing going on. Yeah, that's not as easy as you'd think. You're not containing them as much as you think you might be.
This might also be me. I don't like the side sitting. Like in a booth, you're across from each other, so you can like look right at each other instead of, like with you're at a table and you're on a date or something. She's sitting to your left or your right. You're not just like glaring into her eyes.
Wait, in a table? You can sit across from her in a table.
I don't know. Maybe I'm with the wrong person. She likes to sit next to me.
Oh.
Yeah, maybe I don't own a truck, so she can't, sit in the middle.
She just wants to be near you. It's okay.
Dookie Clint says, I'm a booth guy. Hate being close to others.
Wait, hang on a second. So, again, I'm team booth, but when you're in a booth, you are sitting next to people, right? Or are we just saying like if there's two people?
Okay, there's two people. Just two people. Like two people.
Okay.
You go to a date. Is a date better at a table or a booth?
Ooh. Well, I would say in a booth because if things are going well, you can start inching closer and closer, and you're a little bit concealed.
Oh, no. I don't want anybody, like if it's two people that are going out to eat and you get a booth, I don't want that person sitting on the same side. I cringe when I see that. Like you go into a place and you have the guy and the gal are sitting on the same side of the booth.
Well, yeah, but if you started out on opposite sides, but things are going well at that point, do you even care what other people think about you?
Well, I'm leaving the restaurant. I mean,
at that point, you might as well.
Yeah, but I don't need the booth anymore.
But aren't you preheating the oven?
It's heated.
Well, preheating of the oven, then you leave.
Is that what you kids call it?
I don't know.
Be inappropriate in a public place.
I'm the furthest thing away from hip these days. I have no clue.
I have no idea if this is pertaining to our conversation, but this is our good friend in Beloit, Kansas, Prime. Good morning.
What is going on, boys, from the Beloit Country Club in Beloit, Kansas? It's a beautiful summer day, and the greatest thing about this, my half-brother, the voice of the Buffs, Mark Johnson's getting ready to pony up Monday and go for a 150-mile ride by horseback down by Telluride, Colorado with 150 other Cowboys, and neither one of us give a damn about Colorado football right now. The other thing is if you guys ever go back to Concordia, Kansas, which is about 25 steps from Beloit, there's a little sports bar that's a must stop about 2 blocks off of 81 called Easy G Sports Bar. It's a must eat, great place. So
do they have booths?
Take your wife down through their stop. So
no booths. They all have tables. They have a bar in there.
It's a hell of a place. So, hey, I want to give a shout out to a Beloit hometown kid that just got 8th in the nation at the NCAA track championships in Eugene, Oregon. Brady Paulin is a senior at Wichita State. He got 8th this weekend, and his parents been flying and driving for 4 years chasing that kid around, and he got 8th in the nation. And a shout out to the other 3 Kansas boys that went 1, 2, and 8. Tyus, God, forget his name now, but kid from Sterling, Kansas, goes to Nebraska. He ended up 2nd. And then a familiar name to you guys, Loudermilk from West Elk, Kansas. His brother was going to go to Nebraska as a DN, ended up going to Wisconsin. And now he's in the pros. His brother ended up 3rd. So you got 3 Kansas boys that are all high jumpers, and they're all white, which doesn't make a rat's rear end to me. But I think it's interesting that the Kansas boys went 2, 3, and 8 in the NCAA high jump over the weekend.
Well, let me bring this up, Prime. Prime, do you ever call like WIBW in Topeka?
No, but it's interesting you say that because a very familiar voice, Wade Gerstner, who was
I know Wade,
part owner of KDNS 94.1, who's the Solomon Valley leader in sports. They do a heck of a job here in north central Kansas. They have 10 different schools that they cover, and Wade just bought into a new radio station in Hoyt, Kansas, which is north of Topeka. And so he's going to be in direct competition with WIBW. I can't remember the call letters, but it's an all new country hip hop station. And
what? It's a what?
Yep, hip hop,
country and hip hop.
Yep, like they have 5 different stations. They've got a country, they got a hip hop, rhythm and blues, and then I think they have a news station, and then a couple others. But yeah, they combined 5 stations into the ownership of one station, and a friend of his got him to come over. So he's also the secondary voice of the Kansas State Lady Wildcats. And we're going to miss Wade Gerster and his family here big time because he's run that station and put that station out. They actually just had the 8-man All-Star game in Beloit, and they have 2 games. And they have built that over the last 19 years to go out to 68 different stations, and they call it the Kansas 8-man All-Star Radio Network. And Wade was a big proprietor of that, and I just can't stress enough how much we're going to miss him on and off the radio.
Yep, sounds like a great guy. Prime, 89 days away. All right, 89 days away.
I can't believe how many national prognosticators that are picking 6 wins for the Buff. Mark and I just don't see it. We know North Dakota State's going to be 50-50. We know Nebraska's going to be 50-50. We know Colorado State is probably 70-30. Then you get into the Big 12 conference, and there's probably 3 games they're not going to win, 3 games that are 50-50.
Did you hold on?
We're not seeing 6 wins. We're seeing 3 or 4 again.
You just outed the voice of the Buffs that maybe thinks they'll win 3 or 4 games.
Yeah, he just put it this way. He's so glad he's going to crawl on his horse. And don't get this wrong, sleep with 12 cowboys a night in their own tent, and they have a chuck wagon every day, and a band comes out, and they ride 10 miles a day for 15 miles out in the plateau of western Colorado, and he couldn't be more ready to get away from Prime and the Boulder situation.
Okay.
What is happening right now?
I appreciate it. We gotta move on. Wish Wade the best of luck at his going away party.
Hey guys, I want to give my thoughts and prayers to Greg Sharp's family.
Yes. Oh, well, thank you. Thank you very much.
And Mark and I talked about it last night. We were praying for all of you and Greg Sharp's family. So
that is
God bless you guys. Love you. Take care, man.
Much appreciated.
Thank you.
Covered a lot of ground there.
There's lots of process there.
Oh, and Mark's a really good guy.
Poor Mark. Yeah, he's a friend.
I don't think you say that out loud. Yeah, especially when he's got to work with that group. I guess he's not one of the 4.5% that have bet Colorado win the national championship.
Yeah. Wow.
Okay. All right. Got you up there on stuff that's going on in Beloit, Kansas.
All started with a Pizza Hut buffet and some booths.
Pizza Hut buffets are very, very popular.
There is a Pizza Hut buffet in Independence, Kansas as well. Yeah. At least there was in 2018.
Which is by Branson, where you're headed tomorrow.
I'll see you guys there. It's $4.
We will put a wrap on this show and maybe an announcement from Dan Hurley coming up next.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com with Gary Sharp and Nick Handley. The best way to catch all the action is on 1620 The Zone. And no line for the bathroom.
Are Nebraska craft beers and ciders important to you? Whether you just love Nebraska brewed beers and ciders or you're a full-fledged craft brewery, there are benefits to membership for anyone with the Nebraska Craft Brewers Guild. Their sole mission is to foster and help grow the Nebraska-centric brewing community. Become a member today at nebraska.beer and help advance the craft beer and cider industry in the state of Nebraska. Find out more about the Nebraska Craft Brewers Guild at nebraska.beer.
Hi, I'm Nick Vermel, owner of Royalty Roofing. The recent storms wreaked havoc on our community. Our team at Royalty Roofing is here to help. We're local, skilled, licensed, and bonded. We work for you to ensure you get the funds you deserve and make sure that the work is done to your satisfaction. Don't take risks with your biggest investment, your home. We are Better Business Bureau Integrity Award winners and Best of Omaha winners. Cover your roof with Royalty. Visit us today at royaltyroofing.org.
This Father's Day, the Home Depot has same-day delivery on the perfect gift to help Dad be everything he can be. Because your dad is more than just a dad. He's groundskeeper of the yard, the perfecter of the patio, and the cleaner of the clippings. Let the Home Depot help power Dad's doing with the convenience and gas-like power of Milwaukee cordless outdoor tools. Plus, get up to $150 off select Milwaukee tools. For everything Dad is, find the perfect gift at the Home Depot. How doers get more done. Order select and stock items by 4 p.m. subject to availability.
The baseball world comes to Omaha. And 1620 The Zone is running the show. All the excitement of the Men's College World Series. The insight, the fun, and the stories behind the games. Live from the Omaha Baseball Village. Powered by Access Bank and Children's Nebraska. Also brought to you by Pyramid Contractors, Liberty First Credit Union, and the Henry Dorley Zoo. Don't miss a minute of the biggest event in the Big O on your station for the Men's College World Series. 1620 The Zone.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hi, I'm Dr. Peter Stahl, board-certified urologist and senior vice president of men's sexual health at HIMSS. In my 12 years of practice as a reproductive urologist, I've helped many guys with ED, and it has never been more convenient to treat than it is right now, thanks to HIMSS. It really wasn't easy before. You had to take time out of your day, come to a physical office, and see a specialist like me in person. Now, through HIMSS.com, you can get world-class sexual health care and a full range of treatment options for ED through a 100% online process. It starts with a free assessment from a medical provider licensed in your state who can determine if ED treatment is right for you. If prescribed, your medication is shipped to you for free. So don't wait. Join the hundreds of thousands of guys who've gotten help for their ED through HIMSS.
To start your free online visit and find ED treatment at up to 95% off brand name prices, go to hims.com/radio. That's hims.com/radio for your free online visit.
And we're back. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Here's Gary, Nick, and Jimmy on 1620 The Zone.
Thanks to my UPS driver, Chad. He says he believes the Pizza Hut in Tecumseh still has a buffet. Okay. The Pizza Hut in Ord, when you come into Ord there, because it has the Chanticleer mascot, like a little statue that's right outside of the Pizza Hut there in Ord. I believe they still have the buffet. Jimmy is on a industry website to find a job to see if the Colorado play-by-play job is open. I don't think you can say that publicly.
No.
And for people that think he's joking,
I'll be getting my demo together this
afternoon. We have confirmed that Prime is friends with the voice of the Buffaloes. I just don't think that's probably what you want to throw out there publicly, is that the voice of the Buffaloes thinks they may only win 3 or 4 games.
It keeps receipts too. Prime does. Deion, that is. Deion Sanders, not caller Prime. Hey, real quickly, you mentioned Pizza Hut. I yearn sometimes. Yes, I do yearn. I was hoping you're going to bring up the entire Pizza Hut experience of going to a Pizza Hut with the red glass, getting, maybe playing a couple of video games, RBI baseball perhaps, and then waiting for your pizza to be brought to you, which was one of the most exciting things as a child.
Well, Keep On Loving You is playing on the jukebox for the 6th time.
Sure. Maybe doing the suicide with your drink, using all of them. Maybe a little Mellow Yellow and a Coke. Man, a root beer in there too.
Give me a pitcher of Pepsi and my insulin. And we're
well,
good.
McDonald's has the Diet Coke that's a banger. Pizza Hut Mountain Dew. I've never had better Mountain Dew anywhere else except for Pizza Hut.
Something about that red glass.
Roger says over in Winterset, Madison County, home of the covered bridges, they have started the buffet. It might be coming back.
Good.
I wonder if the one there on Maple, like 112th and Maple.
Well, COVID killed a lot of buffets. Let's be honest.
There's a lot of stuff that's killing the intersection of 108th and Maple. I'll tell you that. I went and looked at this real quick here. Colorado has 3 verbal commitments for the class of 2025 in football.
That many.
Thinking the same thing.
They are currently in the rankings on 24/7, for example, 69th. So they're off to a nice start.
Well done. Subtle.
Well, it's because they're trying to recruit to a new coaching staff next year.
I don't think you as a friend you out somebody. I can't come on here and say, Greg Sharp said, rule. Be lucky to win 6.
Yeah. No, I mean,
there's a small part of me that thinks my phone might ring later.
Well, it's a good thing that the voice of the Buffs will be on a horse and will not have any phone ability.
Yeah.
Because,
it's a silent retreat.
All right, save that clip. We'll revisit it later in the season. We love Prime.
When we have
a little bit off on CU. What happened?
Not
3-9.
Realize what's about to happen on September 7th?
He's humbling himself, though. He's getting ready for the big uprising.
All right. No decision yet on Dan Hurley. I'd be curious of how it happened. Will it be like LeBron's decision? Where's Jim Gray?
Yep.
But that's still to come today. And the final piece of the 2024 College World Series. Later today, Georgia, North Carolina State, the All-SEC, All-ACC College World Series. We will discuss all of that tomorrow on a day closer to when we bring you all of the CWS and everything that goes with it. For Nick, for Jimmy, Nick, safe travels back here into the O.
The O.
We'll see you tomorrow at 6.
All right.
Crossover with Connor Happers coming up next.